Chapter 1090. Dongbu Shuiying followed the others to their seats. He sat there drinking wine and eating the rare fruits in front of him. At the same time he was silently observing his surroundings. So many cosmos gods. There were more than 100 guests who could attend this banquet. Other than Dongbu Shuiying and the other primal chaos brats who participated in the competition between the three clans, the weakest of the other guests were on the same level as Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King. Weaker ordinary cosmos gods were not qualified to attend this banquet. Like Monarch Andromeda who brought him here, he could only sit by the corner. Great paragons? Dongbu Shuiying noticed those great paragons whose auras were either tyrannical, transcendent, or strange. Those who could be called great paragons were existences second only to unparalleled existences. In terms of strength they were not much weaker than Southern Cloud King. Even though Southern Cloud King was wealthier, the various treasures, absolute art scriptures and resources from Summer Wind Ancient Nation were something Southern Cloud King could not compare with. But Southern Cloud King was able to create the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique, and that was what he relied on to challenge unparalleled existences. These great paragons give me a feeling close to that of Sacred Master. Dongbu Shuiying thought, as for those three unparalleled existences, they seem stronger than Sacred Master. No other choice. There were fewer powerful secret treasures over at the Primal Chaos Void. Shuiying had never seen a secret treasure that could allow one to fight against those of a higher realm. Clearly, the refinement techniques here were much cruder than those in the Realm Heart Great Land. Even pure scriptures, the gap between both parties was huge. Even a Destruction Realm teleportation technique made Sacred Master envious. The Primal Chaos experts from the Tsang clan are here. Dongbu Shuiying looked over. 5 experts from the Tsang clan and a cosmos god came together. Even though the 5 of them were respectfully bowing, that unbridled and unfettered feeling was the most obvious. This was the natural way that Tsang clan nurtured its disciples. Even though some of them were crippled, those who rose would be more dazzling. The Tsang clan similarly did not accept outsiders, yet their overall strength was comparable to the Fan clan. Clearly this method of nurturing had its merits. Summer clan, Tsang clan and Fan clan. Dongbu Shuiying observed, the disciples from the Summer clan are all polite. The Tsang family was more self-centered. The Fan clan is colder and has a heavier baleful aura. From the bottom of his heart, he liked the disciples of the Summer clan the most. They were the kind of people who were polite and restrained. According to the intelligence, the disciples of the Xia clan hated evil the most. Dongbu Shuiying had already drunk more than half of the flask of wine in front of him, and he had also eaten quite a lot of fruits. At this time, below Emperor Xia, a white-robed man stood up and said in a clear voice, "I am Paragon Qin, the host of this competition between the 3 races. The competition between the 3 clans will be held for the Primal Chaos disciples from my Summer clan, Fan clan, and Tsang clan to compete in 3 different rounds before deciding the final victor." Dongbu Shuiying listened attentively. Although they were the descendants of the 3 great clans, they were not strictly speaking the 3 great clans. For example, the Summer clan and the Tsang clan. Although they did not accept foreign experts, they did accept experts from their own countries. Many experts sought refuge with them and integrated into them, even being bestowed with surnames. As for the Fan clan, they accepted experts from outside the nation. If Dongbu Shuiying were to take Ancestor Fan as his teacher in the past, he would immediately become a core member of the Fan clan. If he were willing to accept the surname bestowed upon him, changing his name to Fan Snow Eagle, the benefits he could obtain from the Fan clan would be greatly increased. In the past, for the sake of the Avatar technique, and for the sake of returning to his hometown earlier, Dongbu Shuiying chose to become a disciple of his teacher, Southern Cloud King. If it were in the Fan clan, even if one's talent was great, precious secret treasures like the 5 phase beads would not be bestowed to him. Hence, Dongbu Shuiying had to contribute sufficiently to exchange for it. After all, there were many experts in the Fan clan, and the rules were naturally stricter. Every round of competition will be bestowed with a golden cauldron. The white-robed great paragon Qin Feng chuckled. After the 3 rounds, the clan with the most golden cauldrons will be the victor. At that moment, Dongbu Shuiying and the other 15 Primal Chaos experts held their breaths. The first round of competition will be a competition of the soul and willpower. The white-robed great paragon Qin Feng said, "The further you walk on the path of cultivation, the more important your soul and willpower will be. The 15 of you will suffer from attacks on the soul and willpower at the same time. The longer you resist, the better it will be. The one who lasts the longest will be ranked first and will receive 3 golden cauldrons. The second will receive 2 golden cauldrons, and the third will receive 1 golden cauldron. As for the others? None of them. Dongbo Shuiying calmed down in his heart. A competition of soul and willpower? He was a great expert in the mirage and illusory realm. Why would he be afraid of this? Of the 15 primal chaos experts, only the top 3 would be bestowed with golden cauldrons. This was just the first round. They had to compete in 3 rounds. It was said that they would compete in different rounds. This first round will be the easiest. Alright, everyone stand up and stand at the center of the palace hall. Great Paragon Qinfeng ordered. Yes. At the same time, the Summer Clan, Song Clan and Fan Clan, a total of 15 10th level experts from 3 teams stood up. They were carefully selected, of which 13 were natives of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Actually, the Summer Wind Ancient Nation was too big, and the competition within it was much more intense than those outside the nation. Upper honored guest Feishua, in a while, we'll have to see how strong you are. Fan San Yuan transmitted with a smile. I've heard that unfazed mystical technique specializes in the soul technique too. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted back. Fan San Yuan, Dongbo Shuiying, Fan Yiqian, Fan Emoju and King Sauron. The 5 of them stood in the great palace hall. At the center were 5 experts from the Summer Clan, and on the other side were 5 experts from the Tsang Clan. Ha! In the great palace hall, laughter could be heard first. After that, the sound of a pipa could be heard. Finally, there was a faint illusory realm enveloping the place. One could even see with the naked eye that the illusory realm contained many distorted scenes. Clearly, the experts from the 3 great clans who specialized in the illusory realm had acted. Shwa shwa shwa. Almost a breath later, 6 of the 15 primal chaos experts in the great palace softened and fell to the ground. Fan Yiqian was the only one from the Fan clan to fall. The standard this time is similar to the past. 6 have fallen at the start. The Fan clan is not bad. Only 1 has fallen? Only 1 from the Fan clan has fallen. It seems the Fan clan did not come with good intentions this time. Fan Yiqian? The guests were discussing. And the higher-ups from the Fan clan could not help but shake their heads inwardly when they saw Fan Yiqian, who was laughing foolishly on the ground. Of the 3 core disciples chosen by their Fan clan this time, the other 2 were still fine. But this Fan Yiqian had similarly strong and weak points. His soul and willpower were on the weaker side, and he was more ruthless and violent. Nevertheless, he had formed a resonance with that absolute art scripture written by Yuan, giving him a terrifying combat strength. I knew he would fall in the first round. Skyrending Great Paragon softly shook his head. He raised his wine cup, but this time with San Yuan, who has grasped the unfazed mystical technique in Ying Shan Snow Eagle, we should have some confidence in winning the first round. As time passed, the primal chaos experts in the great palace fell one after another. The face of the young lady Fan Emoju revealed a look of pain. There was even a strand of hatred and heartache. Following that, she softened and fell to the ground. Clearly she had fallen. King Sauron had a savage expression. His body was trembling. No, he was still mumbling. Clearly he was doing his best to resist. But gradually, as the 3 great cosmos gods unleashed more powerful techniques, King Sauron fell too. At this moment, there were only 5 left on the battlefield. Dongbo Shuiying and Fan San Yuan were still standing there. Their expressions were calm and indifferent. Chapter 1091. There are 5 more. It seems they have some unique attainments in the soul and willpower. The higher-ups from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation were chatting with one another. Of the 2 young fellows from the Fan clan, one is Fan San Yuan, who grasped the unfazed mystical technique, and the other is Strange. He is actually Ying Shan Snow Eagle, who grasped the 5 phases sealing technique. When did a void lineage expert become so resistant against soul techniques? The Fan clan has put in a lot of effort this time. The 2 absolute geniuses of this generation from the Summer clan, Xia Wu Hua and Xia Fa Yang, are still here? Even General Xian from the Tsang clan is here? They were discussing. Over time. Of the 2 absolute geniuses from the Summer clan, that elegant and handsome Xia Wu Hua gradually changed his expression. The aura from his body became sharp. Wu Hua can't hold on any longer. He can't hold on any longer. He specializes in the Tao of Sword. Even though he has experienced tempering his heart in the mortal world, he is ultimately weaker than the other 4 in terms of resisting against soul techniques. The great paragons were discussing. Xia Wu Hua was ranked in the top 3 absolute geniuses in the history of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. His cultivation speed was beyond that of Dongbo Shuiying. Only 1 billion years or so had passed since then. When Dongbo Shuiying shocked the world in the Ardent Fire City, Xia Wuhua had not been born yet. He had an extraordinary talent in the Tao of Sword, and was even personally guided by Emperor Summer. Dong. Xia Wuhua finally swayed and fell down within the palace hall. As for the remaining 4 experts, they were still holding on. Dongbo Shuiying, the other absolute genius from the Summer clan, Xia Fa Yang, and General Xian from the Tsang clan did not change their expressions, though Fan Sanyuan's expression began distorting. What? It isn't strange for Xia Fa Yang to easily resist against it. General Xian is so formidable too? He is much stronger than the previous time. And that Ying Shan Snow Eagle seems to be having an easy time? Instead, Fan Sanyuan, who cultivates the unfazed mystical technique, seems to be unable to hold on any longer. Strange. The cosmos gods were discussing. Even the higher-ups of the Fan clan had a slight change in expression. From their point of view, Fan Sanyuan would definitely get into the top 3 in the first round. How could he not enter the top 3? Fortunately, we have Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Otherwise, we would have lost everything in the first round. Skyrending Great Paragon was secretly shocked. It's unavoidable that the Xia clan has produced 2 peerless demonic geniuses. But when did General Xian become so powerful in the aspect of the soul? Fan Sanyuan finally collapsed to the ground. Only 3 remained standing. They came from the 3 great clans, Ying Shan Snow Eagle, General Xian, and Xia Fa Yang. As time passed, the 3 great cosmos gods who unleashed their attacks looked at each other. Let's focus on dealing with these 3 little fellows. If we don't go all out, I'm afraid that we won't be able to take down the 3 of them. This time, the little fellows are much stronger than the previous few times in terms of soul will. The bald man said as he cast a misty illusion. All right. That female cosmos god who played the pipa chuckled. These 3 brats are quite formidable. They should have reached the pinnacle of primal chaos realm in the soul aspect. The rough male might have stopped laughing, but there were still ripples emanating from him. The 3 of them concentrated on dealing with Dongbo Shuiying and the other 2. As for the 12 primal chaos experts who had previously collapsed on the ground, they had all awakened. All of them woke up and opened their eyes. Looking at the surrounding group of fallen cultivators, Shuiying, Xia Fa Yang, and General Xian were still standing there suffering from all sorts of attacks. We lost. The top 3 are the 3 of them. I, Saron, am unparalleled in the Icy Plains tribe. Primal chaos experts are no longer in my eyes. I have even successfully walked through the 10-layered corridors of life and death, yet I am not even in the top 3. King Sauron's eyes were filled with a trace of bewilderment. His prideful heart in the past had also suffered a blow. There was always someone better out there. There were people who were more monstrous than him. Fan Sanyuan's expression also changed slightly. The formless mystical art was created by Ancestor Fan. Among them, he was good at targeting the mind, but he didn't even make it into the top 3. I lost? Xia Wuhua was startled too. I was a cosmos god when I was at my hometown. I was fortunate enough to reincarnate into the realm heart great land with an unfathomable foundation. Furthermore, I was personally guided by Emperor Summer. But it can't even withstand it with pure willpower? He was very confident in his willpower. In his hometown, his willpower could be said to be indestructible. In this life, he had experienced the Xia clan's heart tempering in the mortal world, but he still couldn't endure it. The other primal chaos disciples had all retreated, leaving behind only Dongbo Shuiying, General Xian, and Xia Fa Yang. What do the 2 of you think the rankings will be? The Xia Emperor smiled as he glanced at the 2 next to him. Tsang Di looked down at the 3 little fellows and said, "This little fellow Tsang Shen really surprised me. His cultivation has always been slow, and it's already not bad that he had the qualifications to represent my Tsang clan in the competition between the 3 clans. But his spirit and willpower are also ordinary. This time he's really impressive. That Ying Shan Snow Eagle cultivates at a frightening speed. Younger brother Fan, you are taking the initiative to accept him as a disciple? Was he also suspected to be a reincarnator? As for Xia Fa Yang, he is very talented. In my opinion, his future is likely to be more extraordinary than the reincarnated Xia Wuhua. In the origin world that Xia Wuhua came from is too weak. He cultivated for a long time in his previous life, and it is hard for him to change his understanding of cultivation in this life. Emperor Summer nodded. Even though his cultivation is fast, it will be hard for him to improve after becoming a cosmos god. There were benefits and disadvantages to reincarnating in the previous life. The advantage was that one could comprehend 2 origin worlds, which would be helpful to his cultivation. Furthermore, with the foundation of his previous life, he would be able to cultivate very quickly in the early stages. The disadvantage was that what he comprehended in his previous life would always influence him. A blank piece of paper was easier to draw. And as a reincarnator, the moment he reincarnated, this piece of paper would already be a drawing. Many reincarnators have reached a bottleneck in their cultivation. That was why they chose to reincarnate. Ancestor Fan said, like the 5 ancestors from the myriad realms ancient nation, they had long reached the pinnacle. They reincarnated just because they wanted to experience more. Furthermore, they were lucky enough to obtain a realm heart order. Dongbu Shuiying was an absolute talent in his previous life. Even though he had been chasing after the destruction devils for 1 trillion years, he still had frightening attainments. It's just that Sacred Master acted, forcing Dongbu Shuiying to reincarnate. Amen? This is truly unbearable. Dongbu Shuiying felt uncomfortable. 3 soul techniques were used to attack. He had the easiest time dealing with that illusory realm technique because he was a great expert in the mirage and illusory realm aspect. But the pipa music made him feel sleepy. The sound of the pipa directly permeated into his soul, making his soul feel very tired and wanted to sleep. And that laughter made his soul chaotic and irritable, making it hard for him to calm his heart. Calming his heart was the most fundamental. If his heart was not calm, it would be easier for him to fall for the technique. 3 great techniques came attacking at the same time. They complemented each other and it was truly frightening. Wake up, wake up. Dongbu Shuiying tried his best to resist. But he felt more and more unbearable. Dongbu Shuiying felt muddle-headed. He could not suppress the irritation and fatigue in his heart. He was very tired. The illusory realm was also dragging him down. That was a wonderful illusory realm. Under such fatigue, he really wanted to enter the illusory realm to rest and enjoy himself. Dong. A faint sound came from the side. One has fallen? This thought flashed across the heart of Dongbu Shuiying. Following that, the power of the 3 great techniques increased once again. It seemed to have broken through a certain limit that Dongbu Shuiying could endure. Hong, he felt his heart world turning dark. And he lost consciousness. Chapter 1092. When Dongbu Shuiying regained consciousness, he saw Xia Fa Yang from the Summer clan and General Xian from the Tsang clan who had similarly regained consciousness. Who is first? Who is second? They immediately stood up. They were slightly puzzled. Because previously, they were doing their best to resist against the soul technique and did not have the mood to check out the external world. Hence, they did not know the rankings. Brother Fei Shui, you are second. Fan San Yuan transmitted, what a pity. You are so close to being first. The 3 of you have persisted for a very long time. In the end, you all fell one after another. The gap between you all is very small. Dongbu Shuiying was slightly stunned. Second? Being an absolute genius in the mirage and illusory realm, and also because he cultivated the avatar technique, he broke out of the cage and absorbed the mysterious energy from the external world to nourish his soul. Dongbu Shuiying thought he should be first. Who would have thought that he was only second? Furthermore, the gap between the top 3 was very small, indicating that they were close in this aspect. I barely got first? Xia Fa Yang also received the transmission from the clan. He could not help but look at the other 2 beside him. He was inwardly startled. I have long reached the pinnacle of primal chaos realm in the Tao of Heart. Furthermore, I specialize in the Tao of Arrays. For the sake of researching arrays, I did not care about the price and absorbed a total of 20 billion cosmos crystals worth of essence of chaotic origin. I thought that nobody could surpass me in resisting against soul techniques at the primal chaos realm. Who would have thought that the 2 of them are similar to me? Xia Fa Yang was the one that the Summer clan valued the most. Tao of Heart, Tao of Arrays, it was hard to become a cosmos god in both Tao paths. Arrays were even more taxing on one's heart and soul. The stronger one's soul was, the faster one could research arrays. That was why Xia Fa Yang did not care about the price and even borrowed cosmos crystals from the clan. The essence of chaotic origin he absorbed was ridiculously valuable. I am third? General Xian frowned. I have been bestowed with a cultivation technique by Teacher Yuan, allowing me to grasp the basics before becoming a cosmos god. Only then am I qualified to become a disciple of Teacher Yuan. My heart is grand, yet I am still lacking by a strand compared to these 2. That's right. In the eyes of Teacher Yuan, I could barely nurture them. But he did not know. Shuiying and Xia Fa Yang, one had reached the pinnacle of primal chaos realm in the mirage and illusory realm, and the other had reached the pinnacle of primal chaos realm in the Tao of Heart. One was his soul absorbing the mysterious aura from outside the origin world, and the other was absorbing a vast amount of chaotic origin essence. It was already incredible that he, General Xian, was able to reach such a level without deliberately cultivating any soul-type techniques. The three peerless geniuses each had their own thoughts, and the host of the competition between the three clans, Great Paragon Imperial Wind, laughed. The first round of competition has ended. The first is Xia Fa Yang from the Summer Clan, the second is Ying Shan Snow Eagle from the Fan Clan, and the third is Zhang Xian from the Zhang Clan. The Summer Clan has temporarily obtained 3 golden cauldrons, the Fan Clan 2 golden cauldrons, and the Zhang Clan 1 golden cauldron. Next will be the second round of competition. The second round of the competition is to compare the overall strength of the disciples nurtured by the 3 clans. The 15 primal chaos experts from the 3 great clans will be split into 5 groups. Each group would have 1 member each from the Summer Clan, Fan Clan, and Zhang Clan. The final victor of each group would obtain a golden cauldron. There are 5 groups in total, which is 5 cauldrons. Please wait for a moment. The second round will begin soon. Great Sovereign Imperial Wind finished speaking. He immediately started discussing with the 2 great paragons from the Fan Clan and Zhang Clan. They would each come up with a name list that was arranged in order. None of them knew the name list of others. 3 name lists were set. The first name on each name list would be in the first group, and the second would be in the second group, and so on. Dongbo Shuang was seated. Upper honored guest Fei Xue, you have done well in the first round. Monarch Andromeda said, currently we are slightly behind the Summer Clan. There is still the second and third round. This time we have a high chance of winning. Fellow cultivators, you must do your best. Yes. Everyone present acknowledged. Very soon the name list was made public. The second round of the competition will begin now. Great Paragon Imperial Wind announced. His voice reverberated in the vast palace hall. The first group consists of Xia Wu Hua, Saron, and Zhang Qinglei. The rules are that those who are thrown out of the platform will lose. Those who are saved by Emperor Summer will also lose. Dongbo Shuang was seated there. The order of appearance for the Fan Clan was King Saron, Fan San Yuan, Ying Shan Snow Eagle, Fan Yi Qian, and Fan Mo Zhu. Xia Wu Hua. This is slightly troublesome. For this battle, Xia Wu Hua has a higher chance of winning. Various guests were discussing. Xia Wu Hua was famous outside, and King Saron was ultimately from a distant Icy Plains tribe. He was from another nation. And Zhang Qinglei was not considered dazzling within the Zhang clan. At the center of the palace hall. Currently, a huge silvery white circular battle platform appeared. Xia Wu Hua, Saron, and Zhang Qinglei were paying attention to their opponents. There would only be one victor among the 3 of them. Let's begin. The moment Great Paragon Imperial Wind finished speaking, the 3 primal chaos existences began fighting. They did not hold back and were not worried about any problems since there were 3 unparalleled existences on the battlefield. Under the watchful eyes of Emperor Summer, Ancestor Fan, and Emperor Zhang, there had never been anyone who died in the competition between the 3 clans. After all, the gap between their levels was too big. Emperor Summer and the others could easily save their opponents at the final moment. Zhang Qinglei transformed into a giant. His skin was dark green in color and lightning was swimming on its surface. He held 2 great hammers in his hands and was abnormally tyrannical. And the originally tyrannical King Sauron was currently releasing many ripples. He began fighting in close combat. King Sauron was someone who cultivated in 2 Dao paths and was incredibly powerful. Even Fan Yi Qian in the past had to use a forbidden technique. In addition to the small space, King Sauron could not evade, resulting in his defeat. And at this moment, the palace battle platform did not seem too exaggerated, but in reality, it was more than 1,000 times bigger than a small courtyard. It was sufficient for him to move about. This brat from the Icy Plains tribe is quite powerful. Dao of Ripple, Dao of Slaughter? Cultivating in 2 Dao paths? Complementing each other? Xia Wu Hua is in trouble. It is hard to say the outcome. Xia Wu Hua merely had a sword. He placed everything on his sword and was loyal to his sword. After a moment of frenzied fighting, Zhang Qinglei was clearly weaker among the 3. But because his body was strong enough, and King Sauron wanted to make use of him to influence Xia Wu Hua, that was why he was blasted out of the battle platform by Xia Wu Hua. The battle between King Sauron and Xia Wu Hua was much more intense. Hua Hua Hua. The dazzling sword light was like a celestial river that poured into the body of King Sauron. Xiao Wuhua's body was also filled with wounds. Finally, Emperor Summer acted and teleported King Sauron out of the battle platform. After all, King Sauron had consumed too much of his body. He was only left with 10% of his life force. And Xiao Wuhua still had more than 50%. I lost again. King Sauron returned to his seat. He turned silent. That time when he was chosen by the Fan clan, he felt slightly proud in his heart. After all, he was chosen by the Fan clan out of the many Primal Chaos Realm experts. King Sauron had a feeling that the Fan clan had to beg him for help. He felt that he was stronger than the core disciples of the Fan clan. But in the competition between the three clans, he was still far from the top 3 in the first round. He lost again in the second round. The Summer clan has won the first group. Don't be anxious. The second group is about to begin. San Yuan, it's up to you. Monarch Andromeda looked at Fan San Yuan. Fan San Yuan nodded and stood up. This was a group fight. The second group consisted of Fan San Yuan, Xia Qing Yuan, and Zhang Yiyong. What? The outcome of the battle shocked many guests. Dongbo Shuang was incredibly shocked too. Even though he knew that a strong soul and willpower did not represent a strong combat power. That Zhang Yiyong from the Tsang clan was the most dazzling before General Xian revealed his brilliance. He was relatively powerful in this battle too, but he was still at a disadvantage when facing Fan San Yuan, who cultivated the unfazed mystical technique. But they had never thought that the least famous Xia Qing Yuan from the Summer clan, a cheerful young man, would reveal such a terrifying combat power. He began chanting. Weng Hua Fu, many characters were chanted out from his mouth. An unseen ripple continued to shackle Zhang Yiyong and Fan San Yuan. Finally, both Zhang Yiyong and Fan San Yuan were bound by layers of shackles. They could not resist and were sent out of the battle platform. The great Dao Song created by Emperor Summer? He actually succeeded in cultivating it? He succeeded in cultivating the great Dao Song? That was too terrifying. Xia Wuhua and Xia Fa Yang were hailed as the absolute geniuses of this generation of the Summer clan. And Xia Qing Yuan was a low-profile young fellow. Even though he was a core disciple, he was still weaker than the other two. But the great Dao Song was a horrifying cultivation technique that was hard to cultivate, just like the 5 phases sealing technique. But the moment one succeeded in cultivating it, it would be frightening. Clearly, Xia Qing Yuan was very low profile. He only revealed his true strength during the competition between the 3 clans. 5 experts from the Summer clan. In terms of combat power, this Xia Qing Yuan is probably close to Xia Fa Yang. One by one they praised. A single cultivation technique could sweep across those on the same level. Once the 5 phases sealing technique was used, it would suppress the core disciples of the Fan clan. Only Fan Yiqian had the confidence to fight against it. It was the same for the great Dao Song. Once this move was used, it would be fine if one could defend against it. The legendary great Dao Song? Dongbo Shuang was inwardly shocked when he saw this. If I had merely cultivated the 5 phases sealing technique, I might not have the confidence to win the competition between the 3 clans. If it was just the 5 phases sealing technique, the Fan clan might just swap out their participants if they demanded too much. But with the 10th level Mirage and Illusory Realm technique, coupled with the 5 phases sealing technique, Dongbo Shuang could win against anyone present here. After all, even this Xia Qing Yuan was not ranked in the top 3 in the first round. He might not have the confidence to resist against the Devil Heart Bell executed by Dongbo Shuang. Even if he could resist against it, he would only barely be able to maintain his consciousness. When facing against Dongbo Shuang, he would undoubtedly lose. This is going to be troublesome. The Summer clan has won again. Xia Wuhua, Xia Qing Yuan, there are a total of 5 ancestors in the second round. The Summer clan has won the first 2 groups consecutively? The Summer clan has the advantage in the first round too, unless our Fan clan is going to lose this competition between the 3 clans? The higher-ups of the Fan clan were slightly panicking. It was true that the Summer clan's advantage was getting bigger and bigger. It was fine if there were 2 absolute geniuses, but there was even a low-profile Xia Qing Yuan. The third group. Great Paragon Imperial Wind chuckled. He was in a good mood. Xia Fa Yang, Yingshan Snow Eagle, Zhang Ying. Xia Fa Yang. He should be the strongest brat in this generation of the Summer clan. He is ranked first in the previous round of soul and willpower. It is said that he has reached the pinnacle of Primal Chaos Realm in the Tao of Heart, and he specializes in the Tao of Erase. The Summer clan will likely win another round. Their advantage is getting bigger and bigger. Furthermore, the Summer clan has quite a few outstanding experts, so they will definitely have a huge advantage in the third round. The other two clans have no hope of turning the tables in this competition between the three clans. Right, the advantage is too big. At this moment, Dongbo Shuiying, Xia Fei Yang, and Song Ying stood up. Chapter 1093. Fei Yang win another match. Brother Fei Yang, it's up to you. Everyone from the Summer clan was filled with confidence. Even though Xia Qingyuan, who cultivated the great Dao Song, was stunning, he could only be said to be close to Xia Fei Yang. Xia Fei Yang specialized in two Daos. The Dao of Array was originally formidable, and the most terrifying was the Dao of Heart, that targeted the soul. Those whose soul and willpower could not resist against it would be easily destroyed. Those who resisted against it would suffer a huge loss in combat strength. Rest assured. Xia Fei Yang stood up with a smile before walking out of his seat towards the circular battle platform at the center of the palace hall. Song Ying, from the Tsang clan, was a cold old man. He was very low profile. My luck is too bad. I actually met the two with the strongest soul and willpower. Weaker soul and willpower did not mean they were weak. But for their soul and willpower to be ranked first and second, their strength must be terrifying. Either they specialized in soul techniques, or they had cultivated some horrifying cultivation techniques that made their soul aspect heaven-defying. Xia Fei Yang is the strongest from the Summer clan. That Ying Shan Snow Eagle should be the strongest from the Fan clan. Why is it so coincidental that I met the two of them? Song Ying felt helpless. Dongbo Shuiying calmly stood up. Upper honored guest Fei Xue, your group must win. We cannot lose again. Monarch Andromeda transmitted. Brother Fei Xue, I've lost. It's up to you now. Fan San Yuan transmitted too. They were all looking at Dongbo Shuiying. Under the attention and transmission, Dongbo Shuiying calmly walked onto the circular battle platform. On the battle platform, Song Ying, Xia Fei Yang, and Dongbo Shuiying stood there. Everything was prepared. The surrounding guests were also watching. They quietened down and were discussing through voice transmissions. The host of the competition between the three clans, Great Paragon Imperial Wind, announced, "Let's begin." The moment he finished speaking, a rotating cyan lotus-like Dharma array almost occupied the entire fighting platform, descending upon it. The array descended instantaneously. It could not be dodged. It was so fast that it could be executed with a thought. This kind of super-fast attack was similar to the illusory world, which could also descend with a thought. For example, some curses, all of these could be executed with just a thought, and they were executed extremely quickly. Although Dongbo Shuiying's 5 phases sealing technique couldn't be dodged, he still had to use the 5 phases first before fusing them together. Break for me. Song Ying roared from within the ancient green lotus, and behind his body, the faint image of a massive black serpent appeared. But at that moment, his soul will seem to be instantly enveloped by a vast world. It was a vast spiritual world. Ding 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 dang, as his soul will was being enveloped, Song Ying could faintly hear the ringing of bells, causing him to be unable to retaliate at all. Poor Song Ying. Being attacked by both Dongbo Shuiying and Xia Fei Yang's soul-type technique, any one of them would be enough to make him sink into oblivion, not to mention both of them attacking at the same time. The soul technique could be unleashed in an instant. There were only two outcomes when facing this technique. Either he could resist it or he couldn't. The ancient green lotus revolved, easily repelling Song Ying out of the circular battle platform. Xia Fei Yang only glanced at Song Ying from the corner of his eyes. Clearly he didn't care about him. He looked at the white-robed young man in front of him. At this moment, there was a 3-meter-long green lotus secret treasure beneath Xia Fei Yang's feet. There was also a red bead on his forehead. 2 great secret treasures. One was an array secret treasure, and the other was a heart secret treasure. Xia Fei Yang was using his full strength. Ding 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 dang, a golden bell appeared by the waist of Dongbo Shuiying. The bell let out a sweet-sounding sound. The bewildering sound and illusory world were also working hard to drag the enemy's consciousness. It's just that the two of them were great experts who had reached the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm in the soul aspect. Even when facing an 11th level technique, they could still barely maintain their consciousness. As for a 10th level soul technique, it would only affect 20 to 30% of their heart force, allowing them to unleash a powerful combat power. Dao of Array? Dongbo Shuiying stood there. The 5-phase bead on his right wrist was emitting a faint light. He pressed his right hand down slightly, causing an unseen space to suppress the surroundings. That green lotus array could no longer move forward. Your attainments in the Tao of array are still lacking. Dongbo Shuang softly shook his head. He extended his hand. 5 faint light revolved around his finger. His right hand expanded, turning into a huge hand that was a few hundred meters in size. It directly grabbed out. Everywhere it passed through, the lotus array was forcefully torn apart. The 5 phases sealing technique was an independent space. Even the destructive realm teleportation technique could not escape from it. This green lotus array had a portion of the array within the 5 phases sealing space, and a portion outside the 5 phases sealing space. Since there was no way for the array to connect between the two, the array naturally broke apart. If the array was strong enough, the 5 phases sealing space would naturally not be broken apart. Clearly, even though Xia Fa Yang was quite formidable in the Tao of array, it was far from the power of the 5 phases sealing technique. Not good. Xia Fa Yang's expression changed. Who? Even though he was anxious and in despair, Xia Fa Yang was helpless. He tried his best to activate the array, but the huge hand came grabbing over and suppressed everything, grabbing onto him. Get out. With a wave of his hand. The huge hand enveloped Xia Fa Yang before easily throwing him out of the battle platform. When the huge hand disappeared, Xia Fa Yang was already outside the battle platform. I lost. Xia Fa Yang stood there in a daze. He was pulled out by a huge hand. Being able to unleash his soul technique to the 10th level, he was already an absolute talent. His attainments in the Tao of array were relatively deep, and he was unquestionably the strongest primal chaos expert in the Summer Clan. Furthermore, he was extremely outstanding in the history of the Summer Clan, and the higher-ups of the Summer Clan regarded him highly. But he still lost. What? This Ying Shan Snow Eagle actually won? That is a mirage and illusory realm secret treasure? Many guests present were dumbstruck. To the experts from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, this brat who came from the Southern Cloud Nation was someone who disdained outsiders. The most outstanding talent of this generation from the Summer Clan actually lost in the hands of this brat from the Southern Cloud Nation? I still thought that his heart force would be greatly affected by the heart attack, preventing him from executing the 5 phases sealing technique. Who would have thought that he is also a great expert in the mirage and illusory realm, and his soul foundation is so strong too? He could still execute the 5 phases sealing technique despite suffering from so many disturbances. The 5 phases sealing technique was a fusion of 5 10th level techniques at the same time. It naturally placed a huge burden on his heart force. But Dongbo Shui Ying's soul was sufficiently strong. He could still bear the burden. Furthermore, after creating the 9 rotation undying technique, his accumulations in the Tao of Void had become so deep that he felt he could break through to the Cosmos God realm after comprehending it slightly. He did not dare to cultivate it temporarily. With such a deep foundation, he could execute the 5 phases sealing technique with ease, and the amount of heart force he required was much lesser. I didn't lose unjustly. Xia Fa Yang regained his calmness. He did not place Tsang Ying in his eyes at all in this group competition. From the start, he paid the most attention to this Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Because he knew the famous technique of Ying Shan Snow Eagle, the 5 phases sealing technique. Hence, he thought of borrowing on the Tao of Heart, to influence the other party's heart force. That way the other party could not execute the 5 phases sealing technique. He is truly an absolute expert in the Tao of Soul. Xia Fa Yang shook his head inwardly. I can't be compared to him. He directly walked back to his seat. Dongbo Shuang also walked down the battle platform. Upper honored guest Feishua, well done. Monarch Andromeda was in great joy. Such an amazing Southern Cloud Nation brat. The guests present memorized him. A 10th level soul technique was practically unparalleled in the primal chaos realm. And if he executed the 5 phases sealing technique, he would truly be unparalleled. Other than Dongbo Shuang, no one present was so savage. Amazing. King Sauron sighed as he watched. Brother Feishua is truly amazing. You have beaten Xia Fa Yang until he no longer has any temper. Fan San Yuan transmitted with a smile. I admit my loss wholeheartedly. The thin Fanny Qian added. It's nothing much. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. He returned to his seat and sat down cross-legged. Indeed, it was nothing much. Currently, his strongest technique was the 9 rotation undying technique. If he executed it, Xia Fa Yang could not injure him at all even if he stood there. He could not even touch him. Without breaking the cage of the origin world, he could not injure him at all. He could easily deal with his enemies. If one were to talk about these 2 techniques, he was unparalleled at the primal chaos realm in this era. But after comprehending the 9 rotation undying technique, dealing with Xia Fa Yang and the others was akin to bullying the juniors. The gap in strength was clear. This competition between the 3 clans was also a competition between groups. If he could fight against a group of them alone, Dong Buishuang could easily sweep through all of them. But he had to do it slowly according to the rules of the competition between the 3 clans. Anyway, as long as he completed the mission, he would get 10,000 contribution points. Chapter 1094. The 4th group, Xia Jingji, Fanny Qian, Zhang Xian. Great Paragon Imperial Wind chuckled and announced, "Watch me." Fanny Qian's fighting spirit was overflowing. Lightning was flowing on the surface of his body. Xia Jingji was a beautiful girl. Her aura was amiable, and anyone who saw her would have a good impression of her. Zhang Xian was General Xian. Dong Buishuang sat there watching calmly. He focused his attention on General Xian. That time when we were resisting against the soul and willpower technique, he, Xia Fa Yang, and I all fell one after another. I wonder if he is proficient in soul offensive techniques. His soul and willpower were extremely strong. He might specialize in the soul aspect like a soul protection technique, but that did not mean he was good at soul offensive techniques. There were many Dao paths with a strong soul and willpower. But experts who specialized in soul offensive techniques would definitely be strong in the soul and willpower aspect. Hong, the battle erupted. The guests who were watching the battle were startled. The combat standard of this group was comparable to that of Snow Eagle and Xia Fa Yang. It was much more interesting and formidable than the first and second group. Die for me, all of you die. Fanny Qian was completely mad. His eyes were filled with lightning. He had clearly executed a forbidden technique. A bronze pole swept out in all directions. His entire body was covered in lightning. Every single move was filled with lightning. His speed was exceptional, and in an instance he had executed hundreds and thousands of moves. Not only was he fast, his power was terrifying too. Good fellow. Dong Buishuang was inwardly startled when he saw that. What a terrifying strength. It is hard to say if the pure 5 phases sealing technique could withstand such a violent attack. Xia Jingji also executed her sword technique. Her Dao of sword was extremely keen and soft, and she could still withstand Fanny Qian's violent attacks. But what shocked Dong Buishuang the most was that General Xian. Ping ping ping. General Xian's body emitted a violet light. The violet light engulfed the entire battle platform. It also enveloped Xia Jingji and Fanny Qian. General Xian casually wielded a great hammer to deal against Fanny Qian. Great hammer and bronze pole. The sledgehammer seemed to be very light and casual, but General Xian was not at a disadvantage at all. He took on those long staffs head-on, and as time passed, the purple light continued to bind him. Fanny Qian seemed to be trapped in a swamp. Although he roared in anger, the strength he could unleash continued to decline. In the end, General Xian merely swung his hammer casually. Ping. Fanny Qian, whose strength had been greatly reduced, was thrown out of the fighting ring. General Xian turned to look at Xia Jingji. Xia Jingji was weaker in body cultivation. Under the binding of the violet light, any random 10th level expert could easily defeat her. General Xian merely took a step forward and casually hammered Xia Jingji away. His domain is at the peak of the 10th level and it continues to grow stronger as time passes. At the very least, at the end of the battle, the limits of his domain had yet to be seen. What kind of technique is this? Dong Buishuang exclaimed in his heart. He could not tell what kind of technique this was, but it was obviously very powerful. In the 4th group, General Xian won. The Tsang clan had finally won a group. The 5th group? Dong Buishuang looked at the only green-robed young girl remaining on the circular battle platform with shock. Fan Emoju? She won? Dong Buishuang was startled. Fan Emoju won this group not only because her 2 opponents were slightly weaker, but more importantly, Fan Emoju was very powerful too. Fan Sanyuan, Fan Emoju, Fanny Qian. The 3 of them should be at the same level. The difference between them isn't huge. Fanny Qian is more violent and barbaric, while Fan Sanyuan is more balanced. As for Fan Emoju, what a formidable sword Dao. It feels as though she is close to Xia Wuhua. The entire palace hall was currently filled with discussions. Because the second round had ended. Out of the 5 groups, the Summer Clan won 2, the Fan Clan won 2, and the Tsang Clan won 1. Haha, the Summer Clan and Fan Clan won 2 groups each, while the Tsang Clan won 1. Currently, the Summer Clan has accumulated 5 golden cauldrons, the Fan Clan has 4 golden cauldrons, and the Tsang Clan has 2 golden cauldrons. Great Paragon Imperial Wind announced. The 2 golden cauldrons of the Tsang clan were obtained by General Xian. Dongbui Shui-Ying from the Fan clan contributed more than half of the total. The overall strength of the Summer clan was too strong. Let's take a break for now. Once everyone has recovered their strength, we can begin the 3rd round, which is also the final round. Great Paragon Imperial Wind said. Previously, quite a few of them were heavily injured or had consumed too much of their heart force. All of them required time to recover. In the Great Palace Hall, Emperor Summer turned to Ancestor Fan with a grin. Brother Fan, according to the rules of the competition between the 3 clans, this 3rd round will be for these young fellows to rely on their own techniques. This generation of my Summer clan not only produced 2 little monsters, Xia Fa Yang and Xia Wu Hua. I did not even know that this child Qing Yuan had grasped the great Dao Song. Even though that Ying Shan Snow Eagle from your Fan clan and Song Xian from the Tsang clan are very formidable, they are just one person. And the 3 juniors from my Summer clan are all extremely strong. By then, adding on the fact that my Summer clan has the upper hand in the first 2 rounds, there is an 80% to 90% chance that my Summer clan will win. With the humble attitude of Emperor Summer, even if he said that there was an 80% to 90% chance, in reality, it was already set in stone. Younger brother Fan, your Fan clan has lost 5 times in a row. This time you will lose for the 6th time too. Emperor Tsang laughed. 6 times. This time the Summer clan has produced 3 little monsters that are much stronger than the previous 5 times. Ancestor Fan frowned too. He was very confident of Ying Shan Snow Eagle. He felt that he could sweep the other party one-on-one. But ultimately there was just one. Fan San Yuan and the others were considered outstanding, but compared to those monsters like Xia Fa Yang and Xia Qing Yuan, they were slightly lacking. No matter what, a loss is a loss. We have lost 6 times in a row. Emperor Summer mocked. They did not care too much about winning or losing. It's just that, unparalleled existences like them, there were not many things that could bring them joy. Emperor Summer and Emperor Tsang found it interesting to let their old friend break the record once again. Don't be anxious. It hasn't reached the final moment yet. Ancestor Fan nonchalantly said. He looked calm on the surface, yet in his heart, he vaguely understood that there was no hope for them to win this competition between the 3 clans. During the break, all sorts of precious wine were served in the palace hall. This wine would nourish the spirit and fleshy body. 2 hours later, everyone had recovered to their peak condition. There is only one final round left in the competition between the 3 clans. Great Paragon Imperial Wind chuckled. The first round is a competition of soul and willpower. The second round is a competition of the overall strength of the disciples nurtured by the 3 great clans. But for us cultivators, individual strength is our foundation. It is most common for an ultra-strong expert to sweep across a group. Hence, this final round will allow the primal chaos experts from the 3 great clans to do their best. Hua! Great Paragon Imperial Wind waved his hand. At the center of the hall, a series of 15 indistinct estate worlds appeared. Later, the 15 of you will each enter a estate world. When the time comes, His Imperial Majesty, the Xia Emperor, will personally use his techniques to send waves of enemies down. Defeat the first wave of enemies and you will get a golden cauldron. Defeat the second wave of enemies and you will get 2 golden cauldrons. If you defeat 9 waves of enemies, you will get 9 golden cauldrons. Great Paragon Imperial Wind chuckled. The number of golden cauldrons obtained by the disciples sent out by the 3 great clans will be accumulated. The number of golden cauldrons obtained by the 3 rounds will also be accumulated. According to the total number, the one with the most wins. I remember in the previous competition between the 3 clans, there were only 6 who could defeat the first wave of enemies, and only 2 who could defeat the second wave. Great Paragon Imperial Wind chuckled. The majority of disciples from the Summer clan, Fan clan, and Tsang clan already knew about this. The final trial was extremely difficult. Those who were chosen to participate in the competition between the 3 clans were strong enough, but the majority could not even win the first wave. As for the second wave, most of the competition between the 3 clans, the most talented cultivator could only defeat the second wave of enemies. As for the defeating 9 waves of enemies mentioned by Great Paragon Imperial Wind, it had never happened before in history. Since the start of the competition between the 3 clans, the most powerful cultivator could only defeat 4 waves of enemies. Fight it out. All 5 of you must fight it out. Monarch Andromeda anxiously transmitted, the other 4 of you must at least defeat the first wave of enemies. As for upper honored guest Feishua, I hope you can defeat 3 waves of enemies. Fan Yiqian, Fan Sanyuan, King Sauron, and the others turned solemn. The 3 of them had yet to obtain a golden cauldron for the Fan clan. They were all prideful people, and were naturally suppressing their anger in their hearts. I have moved unhindered in the Icy Plains tribe. Could it be that I will lose all 3 rounds after coming to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation? No. King Sauron was unwilling. Fan Sanyuan and Fan Yiqian were also filled with fighting spirit. Fan Emoju remained silent, and Dongbua Shuang sat there calmly. All right. All of you can enter your Eden worlds. Great Paragon Imperial Wind announced. They all stood up. The 15 Primal Chaos Cultivators stood up. They did not fight for it. The 15 Primal Chaos Cultivators from the center of the Summer Clan, the Fan Clan, and the Tsang Clan directly entered their respective Eden worlds. Star. Chapter 1095. Dongbua Shuang entered a vast Eden world. This Eden world only had a single piece of land. Interesting. Looking out, he could see through the membrane of the Eden world to the outside world. He could see the other Eden worlds and the huge figures of the guests in the palace hall outside. Their bodies did not become bigger. It should be because they shrunk after I entered the Eden world? Dongbua Shuang immediately understood this point. Hong Long Long, the Eden world suddenly surged with energy. Dongbua Shuang no longer thought about it. He began watching carefully. The other 14 primal chaos existences were also waiting with vigilance. Wah, wah, wah. 3 silver-armored soldiers condensed one after another. They were emitting an aura comparable to Cosmos gods, and should be at least at the God Yuan Palace 10th level strength. Kill? They were about to display their techniques when at this moment, ding 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 dang, a sweet-sounding bell sound could be heard. That golden bell by the waist of Dongbua Shuang was lightly ringing too. Before the 3 silver-armored soldiers could display their techniques, their bodies turned soft and fell to the ground. After losing their consciousness, their bodies crumbled and dissipated like gravel. They were ultimately not true living beings. They were formed with a thought from Emperor Summer. Even though they had formed their initial consciousness, it was very weak. Their combat techniques were directly imparted to them by Emperor Summer. In terms of resisting against soul attacks, it was Emperor Summer who added a layer of protection. This was just the first level of trial, and the soul protection was relatively weak. This first wave of trial isn't too difficult. Dongbua Shuang thought. It would be too exaggerated if they could resist against a 10th level illusory realm in the first wave. Dongbua Shuang looked at the outside world with ease. He looked at the other Eden worlds and saw the techniques of these silver-armored soldiers. Humph. Many ripples were emitted from the surface of King Sauron's body. This ripple spread out in all directions, affecting the 3 silver-armored soldiers around him. At the same time, he was madly staring at a silver-armored soldier whose entire body was covered in flames. Wah! One of the silver-armored soldiers was like a black fog, dissipating and condensing at times. When it condensed, it would entangle and restrict King Sauron. There was also a silver-armored soldier. Every time he condensed a long shuttle in his hand and threw it out, the long shuttle would transform into lightning, ferocious and unstoppable. It gave King Sauron a headache. The one that posed the greatest threat was the silver-armored soldier that he was currently fighting against. This silver-armored soldier's entire body could transform into a 2-colored ring of flames. This ring of flames was the only one among the 3 silver-armored soldiers that could heavily injure his body. King Sauron's body was extremely tyrannical. Ordinary 10th level attacks wouldn't be able to do anything to him. As for the attacks of the other 2 soldiers, he could rely on his domain to weaken them. At most, he would only suffer some light injuries. Break. King Sauron fought against that flaming silver-armored soldier with great difficulty, causing his body to dissipate. However, the other party's body instantly reformed, just that his energy was slightly depleted. Pooh! A lightning spear flashed and pierced into King Sauron's body. Following that, the lightning spear dissipated. Black fog rose to restrict King Sauron's movements. Kill, kill, kill. King Sauron didn't care as he continued to attack the flaming silver-armored soldier. He was doing his best to exhaust the strength of the flaming silver-armored soldier. Chi chi chi, a 2-colored ring of flames appeared. 2 rings of flames appeared, trapping King Sauron from above and below. The 2 completely different flames caused King Sauron's body to feel extreme pain. This was even more damaging to him than 10 to 20 lightning spear attacks. I have to eliminate it as soon as possible. King Sauron didn't dare to allow this soldier that controlled the two-colored flames to continue existing. 10 breaths of time passed. It seemed very short. However, it was already very long for King Sauron in his frenzied battle. He was only left with 30% of his life force. Finally, he successfully exhausted the strength of the flaming silver-armored soldier, causing it to dissipate completely. Only the two of you are left. King Sauron was filled with confidence. Indeed, when he was left with 20% of his life force, he had succeeded. Finally, he defeated the 3 opponents. Finally, I managed to endure through the first batch of enemies and won a golden cauldron. King Sauron secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He was invited here this time. If he didn't even win a golden cauldron, that would be a great humiliation. However, it really wasn't easy to win the first batch. King Sauron felt very tired. The 3 soldiers were all very powerful and specialized in different things. It's just that his body cultivation technique was the Dark Eye scripture, and that flame was very effective against him. King Sauron looked around him. With a glance, he saw the outsider that was similarly invited by the Fan clan. The white-robed young man, Snow Eagle, stood there. His aura was the same as before, and there were no traces of battle within that Eden world. An instant kill? King Sauron muttered inwardly, there is always someone better than you. I'm still far from that level. Oh. No. The battle within the 15 Eden worlds had indeed reached its end. King Sauron had spent the longest time in this battle. 3 breaths of time after his battle ended, everything quietened down. 4 primal chaos experts had been teleported out. Emperor Summer would not watch them die in front of his eyes. There are actually 11 who survived through the first wave of enemies? It seems the overall strength of the participants in this competition between the 3 clans is quite strong. 11? I remember there were only 6 the previous time, right? Many guests clicked their tongues in surprise. Since 11 of them survived through the first wave of attacks, it proved that their strength had reached an extremely high level. Ha, Fan clan. The Fan clan has actually survived through the first wave. 4 from the Summer clan and 2 from the Tsang clan. This time, the 5 that the Fan clan sent over are quite strong. No choice. The Fan clan can't afford to lose. Naturally, they have to think of other ways. The guests were discussing. The Fan clan had indeed survived through the first wave because they had lost the previous 5 competitions between the 3 clans. This time, after selecting Fan San Yuan, Fan Yi Qian, and Fan Mo Zhu, they felt that the other disciples of the Fan clan were too weak and might not be able to survive against the first wave of enemies in the Eden world. The Fan clan was not willing to lose again. Hence, they had to search for more outstanding cultivators from the outside world. Without a good teacher or cultivation technique, how hard was it to find someone comparable to Fan Yi Qian and the others? But they barely managed to find 2. One was King Sauron from the Icy Plains tribe, and the other was Ying Shan Snow Eagle from the Southern Cloud Nation. And through the negotiation between Southern Cloud King and Skyrending Great Paragon, the Fan clan understood that this Yingshan Shuiying was much more heaven-defying than they expected. Even though they had given him the upper honored guest benefits, they were still quite happy about it. After all, he was a trump card. Indeed, he did not disappoint them. In the first round, Snow Eagle was ranked 2nd, obtaining 2 golden cauldrons. In the second round, he even defeated Xia Fa Yang, obtaining another golden cauldron. Hong Long, under the attention of many guests, within the 11 Eden worlds that had shrunk, every primal chaos cultivator had shrunk too. They once again met enemies. This time it was just 2 silver-armored soldiers. These 2 silver-armored soldiers were much more savage. One silver-armored soldier turned into a surging cloud. This cloud engulfed the entire Eden world and restricted everyone. As for the other one, he was truly violent. Hong. He directly turned into frightening lightning. Large amounts of lightning struck down. Xia Jingji from the Summer clan was restricted by the cloud and struck by the lightning. In less than a breath of time, he was teleported out by Emperor Summer. It was surging and violent. It was tyrannical. One after another, they were teleported out. Shwa. King Sauron, Fan Mo Zhu and Fan San Yuan were amongst the many figures that were teleported out. The second wave of enemies was too terrifying. Usually, only 2 or 3 could survive through the second wave during the competition between the 3 clans. Chapter 1096. I've lost. Fan San Yuan walked to his seat and sat down. He felt complex in his heart. He knew that his journey in this competition between the 3 clans had ended. He did not enter the top 3 in the first round and he did not win the second round either. He only barely won a golden cauldron in the final round, just like King Sauron. Even Fan Mo Zhu won 2 golden cauldrons. As for Fan Yiqian, who was currently fighting within the Eden world, there was no need to talk about Ying Shan Snow Eagle. I originally thought that I could display my brilliance in this competition between the 3 clans. What a pity that I can't even be ranked in the top 5 amongst the group of primal chaos existences. Fan Sanyuan softly shook his head. He looked at the many Eden worlds within the palace hall and was carefully watching the battles. Dongbo Shui Ying's battle was still the easiest. The devil heart bell by his waist was letting out a sweet ringing sound that reverberated across the entire Eden world. It affected those 2 silver-armored soldiers, causing their strength to be significantly reduced. Hong. The clouds were surging. Lightning struck down. The clouds and lightning were even faintly transforming, causing every single lightning bolt to be filled with destructive power when it struck down. Yet at the same time, it seemed to contain the aura of life. Dongbo Shuiying could even vaguely see a cosmos being struck by lightning, giving birth to life. Lightning can destroy a world and it can also create a world? Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. Even though the power of this lightning was formidable, Dongbo Shuiying had already formed the 5 phases sealing technique around his body, allowing him to easily resist against these lightning bolts. After all, the 2 silver-armored soldiers could not unleash their full strength under the influence of the devil heart bell. Extinguish. Dongbo Shuiying extended his right hand. The 5 phase beads on his wrist emitted light. His right hand expanded and covered the entire Eden world. His fingers seemed to have a gap, yet the space did not leave any gap. It enveloped and restricted all the clouds and lightning. Following that, Dongbo Shuiying's enormous palm abruptly shrunk. The space within was also being compressed. Everything within was being suppressed. Boom, boom. Although the 2 silver-armored soldiers were struggling, under the control of Dongbo Shuiying, the sound of the demon heart bell and the illusory world still fused into the 5-element sealed space, making it impossible for the 2 silver-armored soldiers to shake the stability of the 5-element sealed space. In the end, they were forcibly suppressed and dissipated. After dealing with the second wave of enemies, Dongbo Shuiying looked outside. Fan Sanyuan and the other 2 were all teleported out? Dongbo Shuiying discovered that among the primal chaos experts sent by the Fan clan, other than himself, only Fan Yiqian was barely holding on. As for the Tsang clan, the Tsang clan only had General Xian left. General Xian was still unhurried. His purple splendor illuminated the grotto heaven world, and its power kept increasing. Xia clan, there were still 3 left. Xia Fe Yang, Xia Qingyuan and Xia Wu Hua. Xia Fe Yang relied on his heart image and spirit formation, these 2 great techniques, and it was still relatively easy for him. He believed that he would be able to obtain victory even if he spent a little more time. Xia Qingyuan sang the great Dao song and had the upper hand. Only Xia Wu Hua was having a hard time holding on amidst the violent lightning. Both Fan Yiqian and Xia Wu Hua are having a hard time. Dongbo Shuiying watched on. It is hard for them to survive the second round. Yiqian. Fan Sanyuan, Fan Mo Zhu, and the others who had been teleported outside were watching anxiously. Scatter for me, scatter. Fan Yiqian had long gone mad. A bronze-colored pole brought with it a world-destroying might. Everywhere it passed, lightning would annihilate all living beings. His pole was sufficient to injure the 2 silver-armored soldiers who had turned into lightning and clouds. Nevertheless, the clouds and lightning complemented each other. Under the frenzied strikes, Fan Yiqian was struck until the corner of his mouth was filled with blood. His injuries were also worsening. At this moment, Fan Yiqian felt his ears ringing. In front of him, he could only see the lightning striking down. No, I am not willing. I am not willing. Fan Yiqian felt like a small boat amidst a storm. This feeling of helplessness made him furious. South, suddenly a force descended. It enveloped Fan Yiqian and teleported him out. Fan Yiqian stood by his table in a daze. There was no longer any lightning around him. He held onto the bronze-colored pole. I couldn't win. Fan Yiqian's body trembled slightly. In the past, he had always been superstitious about his heaven-shattering strength, feeling that he could sweep through everything. But under the even more violent lightning, he was utterly defeated. Amen? Ancestor Fan looked down from the highest point. He frowned slightly. Out of the 5 disciples sent out by the Fan clan, 4 had been teleported out, and all of them obtained a single golden cauldron. And the Summer clan had a huge advantage because Xia Fe Yang, and Xia Qingyuan had both won. Fan Yiqian had spent a long time battling. Other than Xia Wuhua, who was similarly having a hard time battling, Dongbua Shuiying, General Xian, Xia Fa Yang, and Xia Qingyuan had won. I am a reincarnated body, and am a cosmos god in my previous life. Even though I am no longer qualified after breaking through in the competition between the three clans. But am I going to lose to 4 juniors consecutively at the Primal Chaos Realm? Xia Wuhua was doing his best to battle. If one said that Fan Yiqian was using brute force, then Xia Wuhua was more elegant. His entire body turned into a strand of sword light swimming amidst the lightning. Under the sky full of lightning, many could not touch Xia Wuhua at all. Even if some struck him, Xia Wuhua would take the initiative to divert them away with his sword techniques. Hua, the sword light that was like a celestial river, wreaked havoc on the surrounding cloud. Xia Wuhua did not care about those sword lights. Instead, he was focused on attacking the cloud that was present everywhere. My body cultivation isn't strong enough. I have to try my best to evade and hold on for a longer period of time. Xia Wuhua pushed his body technique to the limit. He was doing his best to evade the lightning, but there were too many of them and they were too violent. Their power was too exaggerated. Even after being weakened by the sword lights, they were still corroding Xia Wuhua's body. Hong. Finally, the cloud suddenly shrank back into a silver-armored soldier. Its aura had also become weak. Clearly, it did not dare to resist against the sword lights head-on. Without its help, the power of the lightning rapidly decreased. Only 20% to 30% remained. Good. Good job. We are about to win. Many Cosmos gods from the Summer clan immediately cheered. The Tsang clan was still relatively indifferent. After all, the gap between the Tsang clan and the Summer clan was too big, and they no longer had any hope of winning. But the majority of the Cosmos gods from the Fan clan had ugly expressions. Before Xia Wuhua won, the Fan clan could still have some hope. But now, they could ignore this hope. Even though Xia Wuhua was heavily injured, he could still easily destroy the silver-armored soldier. The competition between the three clans this time is indeed very powerful. There are actually a total of 5 who won the second wave. The previous time there were only 2, right? It has been a long time since so many formidable young fellows appeared in the same era. The Cosmos gods were clicking their tongues in praise. Even though it was normal for 2 or 3 to get through the second wave, there would occasionally be some heaven-defying geniuses appearing in the competition between the 3 clans. There were even primal chaos existences who won the 4th wave. Dongbua Shuiying was solemnly looking in front of him because the 3rd wave of enemies had arrived. The surging aura condensed into a silver-armored soldier. This soldier stood there, yet behind him were many rings of fire. There were a total of 7 fire rings of different colors. 7-colored fire? The pupils of Dongbua Shuiying dilated. Amongst the heaven-defying cultivation techniques at the Primal Chaos Realm, the 5 phases sealing technique was ranked extremely high. But there were some terrifying cultivation techniques that could be completed in theory that were stronger. 3 realms technique, 7-colored fire, eternal night world. These were techniques that unparalleled existences could not improve any further. Hence, they had to rely on secret treasures to unleash the pinnacle of cultivation techniques at the Primal Chaos Realm. The difficulty of the 7-colored fire was even higher than the 5 phases sealing technique. But there was a heaven-defying existence who grasped it in history. That was a heaven-defying monster from the Myriad Realm's ancient nation. The Eternal Night World was even harder. According to hearsay, one had to unleash 5 10th level soul techniques before the Eternal Night World could be formed. Eternal Night World, everything would belong to the Eternal Night, forever sinking into the boundless darkness without an end. The 7-colored fire is actually the 3rd trial? Dongbua Shuiying was dumbstruck. Ding 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 dang dang, the sweet-sounding sound of the devil heart bell rang, causing the body of that silver-armored soldier to sway slightly. But he still waved his hand, causing a surging 7-colored fire to fly out. Fortunately, my strength is greatly affected by the illusory realm. I can't even unleash the complete fire ring? Dongbua Shuiying heaved a sigh of relief inwardly. If the 7-colored fire ring enveloped him, he would have no way of escaping. The moment the ring was formed, the 7 colors would be like a wheel. With a perfect rotation, its power would be unstoppable. Even Dongbua Shuiying did not have the confidence to resist the 5 phases sealing technique. It was likely that he had to rely on the 9 rotation undying technique. Currently it was just the 7-colored fire. He had the confidence to fight against it using the 5 phases sealing technique. Extinguish. He extended his right hand. His palm expanded, forming a huge hand that covered half the Eden world. It directly enveloped that surging seven-colored fire. When the seven-colored fire clashed against that huge hand, it immediately emitted chi-chi-chi sounds. That huge hand trembled as cracks were formed from the heat. But with the transformation of the 5 phases, it rapidly recovered. Humph! When that silver-armored soldier saw that, he immediately rushed over with a spear in his hand. That spear was also covered in 7-colored fire. Someone who uses a spear. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. At the center of the palace hall, the 5 talented primal chaos existences were fighting. Ying Shan Snow Eagle, who came from the southern cloud nation, could still fight against the silver-armored soldier. And General Xian was doing his best to delay for time. As for Xia Fa Yang, Xia Qingyuan and Xia Wu Hua, they were in a worse state. Xia Wu Hua had practically been teleported out at the first instance. Xia Qingyuan's great Dao Song could not withstand against the flame ring formed by the complete, 7-colored fire. In a breath of time he was teleported out by Emperor Summer. Xia Fa Yang had used his heart resonance technique to greatly reduce the strength of the silver-armored soldier. Unfortunately, his spirit formation was still shattered by the weakened 7-colored fire. Xia Fa Yang was only able to delay the silver-armored soldier for a few breaths of time before he was teleported out. If this continued, he would most likely be burned alive. After all, the weakened 7-colored fire was comparable to Dongbo Shui Ying's 5 phases sealing technique. The Summer Clan has ended. The guests present had made their judgment. This competition between the 3 clans should be won by the Summer Clan. There are no more variables. And above the great palace hall, the 3 unparalleled existences were similarly clear about the situation. Haha, in this third round, my Summer Clan has 3 young fellows who won the second wave, and there is also Xia Jingji who won the first wave. In total, we have won a total of 7 golden cauldrons. In addition to the previous 5 golden cauldrons, my Summer Clan has won a total of 12 golden cauldrons this time. Emperor Summer looked at Ancestor Fan with a smile. Brother Fan, the other 4 young fellows from your Fan clan are not bad, but they have only won the first wave and only 4 golden cauldrons. The previous 2 rounds have 4 golden cauldrons. This Ying Shan Snow Eagle has to win the 4th wave before he can accumulate 12 golden cauldrons. Only then would it be a draw. Ying Shan Snow Eagle had to win the 4th wave before he could reach a draw. And winning the 4th wave was already the most stunning achievement in the history of the competition between the 3 clans. Emperor Tsang chuckled from the side. Even if it is a draw, the chances of him winning aren't high even if there are additional battles. It hasn't reached the final moment. Ancestor Fan continued looking downwards. Emperor Tsang also looked downwards. Currently, only Dongbo Shuiying and General Xian were fighting with difficulty. The 3rd wave of enemies is already so tiring. It is impossible for them to win the 4th wave. Emperor Tsang ridiculed. If Dongbo Shuiying wanted to win, he could directly sneak by the side of the enemy using the Pinnacle of Voidification. The Pinnacle of Voidification was something many cosmos gods in the primal chaos void could not perceive even with the void barrier. By escaping to the side of the enemy, he could launch a sneak attack at the closest distance. The power of the 5 phases sealing technique could directly blast that silver-armored enemy to death. After all, not many could withstand the full power of the 5 phases sealing technique. Even if he could not kill the other party with a single slap, 3 or 4 slaps would suffice. It's just that Dongbo Shuiying was not willing to display that technique unless absolutely necessary. He wanted to have a closer look at the legendary 7-colored fire. Even though this was a legend in the primal chaos realm, there were cosmos gods in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and Myriad Realms Ancient Nation who specialized in this cultivation technique. After this competition between the 3 clans, he would soon become a cosmos god. By then his opponents would not be Xia Fa Yang and the others in front of him, but many stronger cosmos gods in the future. What a formidable 7-colored fire. It is practically the pinnacle of destruction, and this has yet to form a ring of fire. Dongbo Shuiying was inwardly startled. He watched as the incomparably beautiful 7-colored fire scorched his 5 phases sealed space. Ying Shan Snow Eagle. Suddenly, an illusory voice that made Dongbo Shuiying feel horrified sounded in the mind of Dongbo Shuiying and that avatar located far away in the southern cloud capital. It sounded at the same time. If you can win against the 4th wave of enemies, I'll give you another 10,000 contribution points as a reward. If you can win against the 5th wave of enemies, I'll give you another 20,000 contribution points. Dongbo Shuiying sensed something. He looked over. his gaze penetrated through the membrane of the Eden world. He saw that blurred figure of Ancestor Fan, who stood at the highest point in the palace hall outside. He could not see it clearly in the past, but this time Dongbua Shuiying could see a pair of eyes within that blurred figure. That pair of eyes clashed with Dongbua Shuiying's gaze. Dongbua Shuiying immediately understood. He. Even though Emperor Tsang did not sense it, Emperor Summer, who controlled the Eden world to send down the enemies, chuckled as he glanced at Ancestor Fan. Ancestor Fan remained calmly looking down as if he did not do anything. Chapter 1097. As they faced the third wave of enemies. Being someone who grasped hold of the 5 phases sealing technique and the 10th level illusory realm world, Snow Eagle won with much difficulty as expected by the guests present. What? This Tsang Xian? He can win too. Fan Yi Qian, Fan San Yuan, and the others were incredibly startled. Even those Cosmos God guests were shocked. Yingshan Snow Eagle relies on the Mirage and Illusory Realm to prevent the enemy from unleashing the complete 7-colored fire. That was why he could barely win. But this Tsang Xian's enemy had unleashed the complete 7-colored fire ring. In the end he won? Many guests present and even some great paragons with high statuses were indescribably shocked. The 7-colored ring of fire had already enveloped General Tsang Xian. However, General Tsang Xian's body was also protected by rings of purple light. Although parts of his body were starting to turn into ashes, the rest of his body was rapidly recovering. In this process of turning into ashes and growing, his life force was also weakening. However, at the same time, the vast purple light filled the entire Grotto Heaven world, enveloping the silver-armored soldier. The purple light became more and more turbulent. In the end, the turbulent purple light was like a terrifying wave. Just the impact caused the silver-armored soldier's body to be continuously injured. Finally, General Tsang Xian was left with 30% of his life force, and the silver-armored soldier was exhausted to death. What exactly is this cultivation technique? The Tsang clan doesn't have such a cultivation technique, right? The higher-ups from the Fan clan and Summer clan looked at the side of the Tsang clan in bewilderment. Those experts from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation who were not from the 3 great clans were puzzled too. Given their experience, they had never seen such a domain before. Violet? Its power was getting stronger? Furthermore, its protective capabilities were frightening. One had to know that the 5 phases sealing technique was continuously damaged under the imperfect 7-colored fire. Under the 7-colored fire ring, most cosmos gods would be burnt to ashes. Even Dongbua Shuiying did not dare to resist against it. He had to rely on the 9-rotation undying technique to prevent the flames from touching his body. What a formidable protective cultivation technique. He dares to resist against the 7-colored fire ring? It should be the strongest known protective cultivation technique at the primal chaos realm. Many guests present were looking at that General Tsang Xian thoughtfully. Ordinary cosmos gods who specialized in body cultivation could not match up to him. This cultivation technique was so strong that it was abnormal. Furthermore, it had never appeared in history before. The stronger the disciples of the Tsang clan were, the happier they were. The stronger the disciples from the Tsang clan were. The one with the worst mood was the Fan clan. The 6 great paragons of the Fan clan sat there while the great paragons of the Summer clan and Tsang clan were chatting with them. Red Lotus religious leader, this Yingshan Snow Eagle is truly extraordinary. Perhaps he might win the 4th wave. By then your Fan clan would still have a chance to emerge victorious. A golden-bearded old man covered in golden scales laughed. The Fan clan still has hope. Yingshan Snow Eagle, that fellow isn't bad. The few of you are the same. Yingshan Snow Eagle has such a hard time winning the 3rd wave. It's impossible for him to win the 4th wave. If you all console Killer and the others, they will only be unhappy. Aha, but I am really happy. A child of the Tsang clan with rosy lips and white teeth was laughing so hard that he was dancing with joy. Accompanying his laughter was the sound of endless waves crashing around him. The burly Supreme Venerable Lu Tian snorted coldly and glanced at the dancing child. Saint Child, why are you laughing so hard over such a small matter? Aren't you disappointed? This is the 6th time. That child sneered, seeing your Fan clan losing face makes me happy. Great Paragon Lu Tian's expression turned black. Haha. The child was still laughing. The other great paragons did not speak. The bitter sea sacred child of the Tsang clan and Great Paragon Lu Tian had a grudge. Everyone present understood that the two had a friendship of life and death, yet they had an irreconcilable enmity that led to the current outcome. But previously, when the bitter sea sacred child was slightly weaker and met with danger, great Paragon Lu Tian was so furious that he wanted to kill his way over. The grudge between the two was something even Emperor Summer and the other two could not resolve. My Fan clan hasn't lost yet. Great Paragon Lu Tian swept his gaze across the bitter sea sacred child. Sacred child, don't be happy too early. Oh, then I'll be watching. I'll be happy in a while. The child giggled. The other great paragons from the Fan clan were silently watching the two remaining Eden worlds at the center of the palace hall. If they lost, firstly they would lose face. Secondly, they would not have the chance to enter the Origin Realm God Palace. According to the rules of the Fan clan, weaker cosmos gods were not qualified to enter. It was too wasteful to enter the Origin Realm God Palace. And existences at the level of Ancestor Fan had entered several times in the past. Hence, they did not have much desire for the Origin Realm God Palace. Most of them would be given to the great paragons under them. They wanted to enter. It's the Origin Realm God Palace. No matter how we fight, we aren't qualified to enter. The guests who were not invited by the three great clans from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation were all absolute experts. Some of them were even comparable to Southern Cloud King in strength. But they sighed inwardly. They had no choice. The best resources were usually given to the three great clans by Emperor Summer and the other two great clans. They would only leak some to them, and this was under the situation where they were always at the beck and call of the three great clans. This was already not bad. The Summer clan and Song clan disdained to care about the external nations. Even though the Fan clan had honored guests from other nations, the missions were difficult. To the people of the same nation, the three great clans were considered benevolent. Within the two Eden worlds, Dongbo Shuiying and Song Xian were waiting. Hong Long Long. Surging auras condensed. The fourth wave of enemies had arrived. Hua. Dongbo Shuiying watched as a golden-armored soldier condensed in front of him. That golden-armored soldier stared at Dongbo Shuiying with cold eyes. Hong. The temperature of the entire Eden world abruptly plummeted. For a moment, the great earth froze. It felt as if time-space had been frozen, and there was nowhere to hide. If one were to say that other places were merely affected by the shockwaves, then where Dongbo Shuiying stood was the core of the attack. Faint gray ice cubes had completely frozen Dongbo Shuiying's body. Such a horrifying technique would freeze most cosmos gods until their bodies disintegrated. Even if they did not die, the movement speed of their bodies would become extremely slow after being frozen. Their strength would be greatly reduced and they would be easily killed. Such a technique was theoretically impossible for primal chaos existences to execute. Clearly, the fourth wave of trials utilized techniques that cosmos gods could only execute by relying on secret treasures. Quite formidable. Dongbo Shuiying seemed to have been frozen. He remained standing there unmoving, though the edge of his lips curled upwards into a grin. He could still smile even when he was frozen? In another grotto heaven world. Hua. Just a breath of time after exchanging moves, General Shen was teleported out. Because he was already heavily injured in the previous battle. The terrifying coldness of the fourth wave of enemies descended upon him, and his body was frozen by the faint gray ice. The power of the ice was even slightly stronger than that of the seven-colored ring of fire, causing his injuries to worsen. In the time it took for a single breath, the Xia Emperor had immediately teleported him out. The competition between the three clans of the Tsang clan's General Xian had ended at this point. This time, there was only one primal chaos existence left fighting, and that was Ying Shan Snow Eagle who came from the Southern Cloud Nation. Strange? Why hasn't his aura become weaker? The guests looked at the scene within the Eden world with slight bewilderment. After all, this was an Eden world controlled by Emperor Summer, and they could not permeate into it. They could only make their judgment by observing with their naked eyes. Ying Shan Snow Eagle even turned around to see General Xian being teleported out before disappearing. He disappeared? He has been teleported out? As the higher-ups of the Fan clan could not help but check the palace hall, they discovered that the figure of Dongbo Shuiying did not appear within. Dongbo Shuiying was not in a rush to kill the enemy. Under the terrifying domain, he naturally executed the 9-rotation undying technique at the first moment, preventing the coldness from injuring him at all. Following Dongbo Shuiying, Shuiying was primarily inspecting the techniques of the enemy. He had too little experience fighting against powerful cosmos gods. Naturally, he had to accumulate more experience to pry out more supreme laws. His goal was never just to become a cosmos god. Coldness, deathly stillness, Even time-space can be frozen into deathly stillness? Dongbo Shuiying felt this cold realm. He could not help but feel horrified inwardly. But the realm I grasped has transcended the ordinary time-space category. It is directed at the essence of the entire origin world. I have fused with the essence of the void of the origin world, and those who cannot break the cage of the origin world can't injure me. With a thought, Dongbo Shuiying directly disappeared from the outside world. Absolutely disappeared. Even if cosmos gods came to investigate, they could not discover anything at all. This was how terrifying the pinnacle of voidification was. He just had to modify the second chapter. Chapter 1098. Whoosh. The feeling of merging with the essence of the void was wonderful. Dongbo Shuiying slowly walked forward, his body twisting and spinning. Countless black mist spherical particles surrounded him, as if he was one of them. Soon, he came to the side of the golden-armored soldier who was looking around cautiously. Boom! Without any warning, a blurry palm formed by 5 streams of air suddenly appeared above the golden-armored soldier's head. Without giving the golden-armored soldier any chance to resist, he directly slapped down. It looked like a slap, but in fact, it was the 5 phases sealing space directly contracting and suppressing it. The perfect combination of the 5 10th level techniques was the suppression of the entire space. He wanted to destroy the enemy forcefully. This was an absolutely tyrannical move that could crush them head-on. Even the Thunder King Mo Chao, with his 10th level celestial sword invincible body, was unable to withstand it. The Xia Emperor had given the golden-armored soldiers powerful attacks, so naturally, the defense of their bodies wouldn't be too heaven-defying. If it was too heaven-defying, the difficulty would be too high. After all, the difficulty of the 3rd and 4th wave would gradually increase. Ultimately, this test was targeted at the primal chaos realm. He had to leave behind something that could fulfill his hopes. Dongbo Shuiying was slightly surprised. When the 5 phases sealing art was fully activated, the enemy was caught off guard and was killed in a single move. Isn't his body's survivability too heaven-defying? The golden-armored soldier died. The coldness in the surroundings dissipated. Only then did Dongbo Shuiying's figure materialize out of thin air. Seeing the white-robed young man who appeared from nothingness within the Eden world, Fan Yiqian, Fan Sanyuan, Fan Emoju, King Sauron, and the primal chaos experts from the Summer Clan and Song Clan were dumbstruck. Disappeared without a trace? Killed in one move? He actually hid his strength after winning the 3rd wave? General Xian was extremely shocked. He had become the disciple of Master Yuan due to a fortuitous encounter. Although he was humble, he was actually very proud. But now he was completely stunned. This is his true strength? No wonder he could become a high honorary delegate. Fan Sanyuan even felt that it was luck for the Fan clan to be able to invite an expert at the primal chaos realm to become an honored guest. One had to know. Ever since the Second War of the Ancient Nations, the 3 clans competition, organized by the 3 major clans, had only won the 4th wave. And it was very difficult. How could he be as relaxed as this snow eagle? Ha ha ha. Skyrending Great Venerate stood up and laughed heartily. Well done. Well done, no wonder you are an upper honored guest of my Fan clan. His laughter reverberated in the hall as he deliberately glanced at the Xia clan and Song clan great seniors. The teasing words of those great paragons were still ringing in his ears. As the current overseer of the Fan clan, Skyrending Great Paragon was truly laughing out loud at this moment. Slapping their faces on purpose. At their level, because they were from the same ancient country, they wouldn't kill each other. On the contrary, it was more common for them to fight over personal feelings and face. Beautiful. Amazing. This is the pinnacle of voidification? Reaching the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm is unfathomable and amazing. Where did he learn the ultimate technique of voidification? Does the Southern Cloud Nation have such a cultivation technique? Who cares where he learned it? It's a good thing that he can put it to use. The cosmos gods from the Fan clan were all grinning from ear to ear. Skyrending Great Paragon, Red Lotus Religious Master, and others were in a good mood because they could see how easy it was for them to win the 4th wave. This heaven-defying Yingshan Snow Eagle who grasped hold of the 10th level illusory realm technique, the 5 phases sealing technique, and the pinnacle of voidification was absolutely the most terrifying primal chaos expert in the history of the competition between the 3 clans. It was likely that the 5th wave could not stop him. As long as they won the 5th wave, the Fan clan would have won. By then, the chance to enter the Origin Realm God Palace would belong to their Fan clan. Skyrending Great Venerate and the others were already thinking about how to negotiate with the other 5. Choosing him was truly the right choice. Skyrending Great Paragon rejoiced. 10,000 contribution points for the Fan clan to win a chance to enter the Origin Realm God Palace. It was truly worth it. Even if it was 30,000 or 50,000 contribution points, it would be worth it. Little did he know that Ancestor Fan had already promised Dongbui Shuiying. And on the highest seat, Emperor Summer, Emperor Tsang and Ancestor Fan were slightly astonished. Extreme voidification? He actually mastered the pinnacle of voidification? Someone at the primal chaos realm could cultivate it? He should be a powerful cosmos god who reincarnated. Emperor Summer and the others could not help but think this way, because it was too difficult to reach the primal chaos realm. Like Gu Qi, who became a cosmos god in the Tao of Void, he had a clear cultivation technique, the Walker's hidden secret. As long as he cultivated it to the 60th level grand perfection, he would be able to achieve the pinnacle of voidification. Nonetheless, he had yet to succeed. One could see how difficult it was to reach the pinnacle of voidification. The degree of difficulty was beyond that of the Eternal Night World, 3 Realms Technique, and 7-Colored Fire. It was absolutely one of the hardest known primal chaos cultivation techniques. It was something many cosmos gods yearned for even in their dreams. After all, this survival ability was too heaven-defying. Breaking the cage of the origin world was too difficult. Even experts who specialized in the void had a hard time doing so. Much less those who specialized in other Tao paths. The difficulty of cultivating it to the primal chaos realm is too high. But he should have reincarnated, and his attainments in his previous life should be extremely high. Emperor Summer and the others determined that if Snow Eagle was an expert at the level of Southern Cloud King in his previous life, with his foundation, it was possible for him to reach the pinnacle of voidification by disguising himself as a primal chaos realm expert using the profound mysteries at the primal chaos realm. Where did he get the pinnacle of voidification cultivation technique? The 3 of them were curious too. Because currently, only the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and Summer Wind Ancient Nation had cultivation techniques that could allow one to reach the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm. According to logic, Snow Eagle should not have learned it. Or did he learn it in another origin world in his previous life? Ancestor Fan chuckled. There was no need to care too much about this. It was normal for experts to exist in other origin worlds. For instance, the 5 ancestors from the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation were all reincarnators. No matter what, Snow Eagle had helped his Fan clan this time. The 4th wave has been settled. Ancestor Fan chuckled as he turned to Emperor Summer by the side. Let the 5th wave begin. Emperor Summer and Emperor Tsang exchanged glances. This pair of old brothers also chuckled. I still thought Brother Fan could create another record this time, allowing the Fan clan to lose 6 times in a row. What a pity that it has been destroyed by a little fellow. Emperor Summer teased, saying that he had already sent 5 enemies. Naturally, he would not deliberately increase the difficulty. What identity and status did he have? For Ancestor Fan and Emperor Tsang to be willing to assist him, other than his strength, this was the basic fairness that Emperor Summer could naturally achieve. Furthermore, he had even deliberately given benefits to the Fan clan and Tsang clan. Hong, hong, hong. The 5th wave consisted of 2 golden-armored soldiers. But this time, Snow Eagle brandished his Scarlet Cloud God Spear. Actually, the 5 phases sealing technique was formed by the condensation of the 5 phases. It could be applied on the palm or other weapons. It could even be executed from thin air. The way it was executed could directly seal the enemy within a space and suppress them. It could also be used with the power of an entire space. This time, Dongbui Shuiying chose to use his weapon. He imbued the 5 phases sealing technique on his spear, causing the spear to be incomparably heavy. One golden-armored soldier was directly smashed into pieces. The other one was smashed twice before he was annihilated. Who? After winning the 5th wave, Dongbui Shuiying directly walked out of the Eden world. There was no longer a need to continue. It was fine as long as he won. He was an outsider, and there was no need for him to be in the limelight in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Ha, upper honored guest Feishu, you have done beautifully. Skyrending Great Paragon personally walked down. He took 2 to 3 steps before arriving in front of Dongbui Shuiying. He passed a cup of wine to Dongbui Shuiying passionately. Come, let me toast you. Dongbui Shuiying felt slightly overwhelmed by the favor. Skyrending Great Paragon actually came to toast at this occasion? One had to know that the status of Skyrending Great Paragon was the highest among the 6 great paragons of the Fan clan. After all, he was the manager. Dongbo Shuiying immediately received it. Many thanks, Great Paragon. The two of them immediately drank it. Good. By the side, other than the cosmos gods from the Fan clan cheering and praising, there were some guests who were not from the 3 great clans. The Summer clan and Song clan were also looking at Dongbo Shuiying with astonishment. They were discussing with one another. Since the Fan clan won, they would calmly accept it. After all, in the history of the competition between the 3 clans, the 3 great clans would have some wins and some losses. Skyrending Great Paragon, Ying Snow Eagle has contributed so much for your Fan clan. You mustn't mistreat him. A male from the Summer clan who carried a god sword on his back announced. That's natural. Skyrending Great Paragon laughed out loud. He then turned to Dongbo Shuiying and transmitted over, Upper Honored Guest Fei Xue, who would have thought that you actually have the pinnacle of voidification. I wonder if this cultivation technique of yours was created by yourself? Or was it created by an expert from your previous life's origin world? Dongbo Shuiying was startled. He understood that the other party was certain that he had reincarnated into another world. That's right too. He had cultivated for such a short period, and comprehending the 5 phases sealing technique was already heaven-defying. He comprehended another 10 levels of mirage and illusory realm technique, and now he could even achieve the pinnacle of voidification? Furthermore, he did not reincarnate into another world. Instead, he cultivated it from nothing in this life. Emperor Summer, Ancestor Fan, and the others would most likely not believe it. Skyrending Great Paragon was so polite and even took the initiative to propose a toast. Most likely, he was certain that Dongbo Shuiying had reincarnated into another world. Furthermore, he was an extremely powerful cosmos god in his previous life. That was why he was so courteous. If the other party was truly a primal chaos expert, it was impossible for Skyrending Great Paragon to lower himself to such an extent given his identity and etiquette. I obtained it by chance. Dongbo Shuiying transmitted over. It was temporarily not the time for him to reveal it to the public. It seems your previous life's origin world is quite powerful. Skyrending Great Paragon did not doubt it. After all, it was too difficult to create such a cultivation technique. If the outside world knew about it, a primal chaos expert who could create a cultivation technique would definitely be shocked silly. Because learning it was difficult and creating it was much more difficult. Only the 2 great ancient nations in the realm Heart Great Land had such a cultivation technique. Southern Cloud King and the others could not even create it. Even though Dongbo Shuiying viewed the scaled armor of General Mo Gu as a reference, others could not learn the cultivation technique, yet he could create it. That showed how heaven-defying his comprehension ability was. Chapter 1099. Within the palace hall of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation's royal palace, the competition between the 3 clans had ended. The atmosphere within the palace hall became much more relaxed. Your Fan clan is really lacking. You nearly lost 6 times consecutively. Who would have thought that a Ying Snow Eagle would appear at this moment? This is luck. It is destined that our Fan clan will not lose. The higher-ups of the 3 great clans were talking to each other. At the same time, many guests deliberately chatted with Dongbo Shuiying. Those who were invited as guests were at least at the level of the Fiery Zhao ruler and the Maple Nest ruler. Most of them were very knowledgeable and had extraordinary foresight. Most of them had their own deductions. This Ying Snow Eagle is so heaven-defying, and the possibility of him reincarnating is extremely high. Furthermore, the pinnacle of voidification cultivation technique is something that both the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and Summer Wind Ancient Nation would never impart to outsiders. Where did he learn that? There was nowhere to learn. There's only one possibility: he was reincarnated. He had learned it in another origin world in his previous life. An expert from another origin world could reach the pinnacle of voidification at the Primal Chaos Realm just by using the profound mysteries at the Primal Chaos Realm. This represented that Snow Eagle's true combat power was extremely great. That is an origin world that could create the pinnacle of voidification at the Primal Chaos Realm. I believe the foundation of that origin world shouldn't be too bad. We must befriend them. They no longer looked at Dongbo Shuiying with the gaze of a young fellow from the Southern Cloud Nation. Instead, they were looking at an expert who had reincarnated from a powerful great origin world behind him. Foreign Elder Fei Xue, I'm also studying the Void Dao. If you're free, you can come to my Misty Fox mansion. We can discuss the Dao to our heart's content. A fat bald old man chuckled. The Venerable One's invitation is the Snow Eagle's fortune. After I'm done with my work, I'll definitely go to the Venerable One's residence. Dongbo Shuiying immediately answered. This was Paragon Misty Fox, from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Even though he did not belong to the three great clans, he was still a great paragon. His foundation might not be as strong as Dongbo Shuiying's teacher Southern Cloud King, but his direct combat strength should not be too far off. How could he dare to slight such a person? One by one they would exchange a few words and form some friendships. Or they might even invite him directly. Dongbo Shuiying was obviously highly regarded by these guests. This gap, the other primal chaos existences who were similarly participating in the competition between the three clans were watching with envy and helplessness. Those who could become guests here were not ordinary cosmos gods. Previously he rarely conversed with these primal chaos experts. After all, the difference in strength was obvious. These guests have already conversed with Yingshan Snow Eagle, yet they are ignoring us. This Yingshan Snow Eagle is ultimately too talented. It is natural for him to be valued. All of them could only be envious. The majority of them thought that Yingshan Snow Eagle was treated politely because he was a monster. But they did not know that those guests treated Dongbo Shuiying as an expert on the same level. The banquet was over. The higher-ups from the Fan clan naturally left. Dongbo Shuiying also befriended a group of cosmos gods from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and received many invitations. He was willing to do so. After all, the entire Realm Heart Great Land was a paradise for him to improve his strength. Naturally, he would do his best to befriend others and accumulate resources that could help him. Upper Honored Guest Feishu, let us go together. Skyrending Great Paragon took the initiative to invite Dongbo Shuiying back to the Fan Clan Magic Mountain with him. Don't look anymore. If you were as strong as Yingshan Snow Eagle, you would be treated politely too. Monarch Andromeda glanced at Fan Sanyuan, Fan Emoju, Fan Yiqian, and King Sauron by the side. Let's go. Yes. Fan Sanyuan and the others watched as Skyrending Great Paragon and Dongbo Shuiying left. They then boarded their own carriages with complicated feelings before returning under the lead of Monarch Andromeda. Fan Clan Magic Mountain. There was a short and thick violet tree. This tree trunk was several meters thick, yet it was just 33 meters tall. Its treetop was huge, it covered close to half a kilometer. Skyrending Great Paragon and Dongbo Shuiying were seated cross-legged under the tree. Both of them were facing each other. In front of them were good wine and delicacies, and there were beautiful female attendants serving them. Dongbo Shuiying could not help but look at this short and thick tree. The tree trunk, branches and leaves were all violet in color. It was as if it was carved from violet jade. Have you felt the uniqueness of this god tree? Skyrending Great Paragon chuckled. Yes, it is indeed mystical. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. Beneath this tree, there was an unseen energy being absorbed by his body. This unseen energy was directly nourishing his soul, giving it an extremely comfortable feeling. Furthermore, his soul was faintly becoming stronger at an extremely slow pace. This is something Teacher had snatched before the First War of the Ancient Nations. Skyrending Great Paragon chuckled. It was named by Teacher as the Burning Heart God Tree. It is precisely under this God Tree that Teacher's unfazed mystical technique reached grand perfection. Dongbo Shuiying was startled. There was such an origin. With his identity and status in the Southern Cloud Nation, he knew of many intelligent secrets. But he had never heard of the Burning Heart God Tree. Ancestor Fan was able to cultivate the unfazed mystical technique to grand perfection under this God Tree. It was likely that this God Tree had some unique aspects. The Burning Heart God Tree has the effect of nourishing the soul. This is fine since it can only be nourished for a year and a half before the soul can no longer improve. Skyrending Great Paragon raised his wine cup. Dongbo Shuiying also followed suit. After the two of them drank the wine, Skyrending Great Paragon continued, but the most unique aspect of the Burning Heart God Tree is its burning heart. The longer you cultivate under this tree, the more intense the feeling will be. It is greatly beneficial to the cultivation of the soul. What realm did my teacher reach in the past? He had perfected the unfazed mystical technique under this God Tree. Burning Heart? It is greatly beneficial to the cultivation of the soul? Dongbo Shuiying could not help but feel his heart stirring. His mirage and illusory realm was related to the soul. The soul, it was very mysterious and unique. Like the pinnacle of voidification, one's body would completely fuse with the essence of the void. As long as one did not break the cage of the origin world, one could not be injured. However, there was one exception, and that was Soul technique. Soul techniques were formless and soundless, and they would descend instantaneously. Even if Dongbo Shuiying had fused with the void, his soul still existed. Hence, he could still deal with him using soul techniques. Naturally, the pinnacle of voidification had disappeared entirely. One could not detect it at all. Hence, there was no target for soul attacks. Even if one attacked. With Dongbo Shuiying's current attainments in the soul and the mirage and illusory realm, during the first trial of the competition between the three clans, a cosmos god who specialized in the soul could not deal with him even with his secret treasure. Only when the three of them worked together could they defeat him. Once he became a cosmos god, his soul would undergo another transformation. It would be much harder to deal with him using the soul aspect. This secret treasure of yours is the Devil Heart Bell. Do you specialize in the mirage and illusory realm? Skyrending Great Paragon asked again. Yes. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. The Tao of the soul is very difficult. Skyrending Great Paragon chuckled. If you cultivate under the Burning Heart God tree, it will be greatly beneficial to you. But there is only one tree here. The aura it emits can only be absorbed by a single cultivator. If two cultivators were to absorb it at the same time, the effect would be much weaker. The Burning Heart God tree is incomparably precious. Usually, the 6 of us great paragons will take turns to use it. Only disciples of my fan clan or honored guests who have contributed greatly would have the chance to come here. Skyrending Great Paragon said, this time you have contributed greatly. I can allow you to cultivate here for a year and a half. Even though it won't be of much help to your cultivation, it can nourish your soul to the pinnacle. Many thanks, Great Paragon. Ancestor Fan has already bestowed me 30,000 contribution points. Dongbo Shuiying immediately replied. I know. Skyrending Great Paragon chuckled, cultivating for a long period of time and a year and a half is a minor matter. But if you want to have great accomplishments in the Tao of the soul, you have to cultivate under the Burning Heart God tree for 1 trillion years. Only then will it be of greater help. But the time is too long, and I don't have the authority to promise you. Dongbo Shuiying felt his heart moving. He understood. If one wanted to obtain, one had to pay the price. The origin world you lived in your previous life actually has a cultivation technique that allows one to reach the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm. Their foundation should be relatively deep. Skyrending Great Paragon looked at Dongbo Shuiying. My fan clan will naturally give us more mysterious and formidable cultivation techniques. If you give a cultivation technique to my fan clan will give you corresponding benefits. Top-graded secret treasures? Cultivating under the Burning Heart God tree? There are some benefits that weren't recorded in your scroll. Everything can be discussed. Skyrending Great Monarch smiled. A fair exchange. The Tao was the foundation. Sufficiently powerful secret importation techniques were sufficient to make these apex superpowers desire them. Ordinary top-graded secret treasures could not be given out. Even though it was stated on the scroll that 200,000 contribution points could be given out. But in reality, Southern Cloud King had yet to accumulate 200,000 contribution points. But if a powerful secret importation technique was offered, both parties could exchange for it. Then many things could be discussed. Some are restricted during cultivation and cannot be taught to others. Dongbo Shuiying said. I understand. Skyrending Great Paragon beamed. As for what I can teach to others, I'll think about it first. Dongbo Shuiying said. The 9-rotation undying technique was created by him. Naturally, he could exchange it, but now wasn't the time. Everything can be discussed. It is a fair exchange. Skyrending Great Paragon nodded. For some texts, one chapter would end today and the reincarnation chapter would end tomorrow. Star. Chapter 1100. At this moment in the Southern Cloud Nation, within the royal palace, this disciple of mine has truly frightened me. Southern Cloud King sat cross-legged on the black grass field. Behind him was a deep pool that was emitting white frost. As the white frost rose, the face of Southern Cloud King became blurred. His eyes were deep and unfathomable, unleashing the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm. Such a deep foundation and accumulation. Given his current strength, Southern Cloud King did not dare say he was 100% confident of achieving the pinnacle of voidification, without relying on the profound mysteries at the cosmos god level and just using the laws and profound mysteries at the primal chaos realm. He is definitely a cosmos god in his previous life. I wonder who created this pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm? Is it an unparalleled existence in his previous origin world? Southern Cloud King pondered. Given his strength and talent, why didn't he take Ancestor Fan as his teacher in the past and chose me instead? His disciple had such a huge origin and was so powerful. Southern Cloud King had to consider carefully. It is impossible for him to threaten me. Southern Cloud King was confident. Given his foundation, unparalleled existences could not eliminate him. Naturally, he was confident of facing this disciple of his. Then why did he take me as his teacher? Because of treasures? Or because of freedom? Or is he not willing to participate in the battles between the ancient nations? Southern Cloud King pondered. The 6 great ancient nations were powerful, but the battles between them were intense too. It was impossible for core members of the Fan clan to avoid battles. But it was different if he was an honored guest. The authority of an honored guest was much smaller, but he could choose to accept or not to accept missions. Haha, no matter what, since he took me as his teacher, he is my disciple in this life. Southern Cloud King chuckled. With a good helper, my Southern Cloud sacred religion will have much better days in the future. The 10 great religions. Other than the 8 that originated from the 6 great ancient nations, the remaining Sky Sword sect would frequently bully the Southern Cloud sacred religion. Previously, they even dared to invade the Black Devil 4 nations. No other choice. Southern Cloud King was not afraid of others, but those organizations with great origins were not afraid of him either. Snow Eagle. Southern Cloud King directly summoned him. The other avatar of Dongbu Shuiying had always been in the Southern Cloud capital. Very soon, the golden-robed Dongbu Shuiying turned into a stream of light and arrived at his master's place of cultivation. Southern Cloud King chuckled as he watched the golden-robed young man walking over. At this moment, the way he looked at his disciple was entirely different. Snow Eagle, you have concealed yourself quite deeply. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Master knows? Dongbu Shuiying smiled. A group of good friends from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation told me about it. Haha, pinnacle of voidification. Other than the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation and Summer Wind Ancient Nation, there are actually other cultivation techniques that allow one to achieve the pinnacle of voidification at the Primal Chaos Realm. Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbu Shuiying. Oh right, who was the one who created this? Was it your master from your past life, or was it some expert from the origin world in your past life? He is a cosmos god from the religion in my previous life. Dongbu Shuiying chose to temporarily hide it. It seems your religion in your previous life is quite powerful. Southern Cloud King nodded. He did not dare imagine that it was created by a primal chaos expert, because the Realm Heart Great Land had 2 cultivation techniques that allowed the primal chaos realm to achieve the pinnacle of voidification. Both were created by unparalleled existences. Created at the primal chaos realm? What a joke. If others knew about it, they would have alerted many experts. After all, this comprehension ability was too heaven-defying. Even with the scaled armor of General Mo Gu as a reference and the accumulation of 2 origin worlds, it was still frightening for the other party to create this cultivation technique. Alright, when are you planning to become a cosmos god? Southern Cloud King casually asked. Currently there are quite a few who guess that you are reincarnated into another world. There is no need for you to hide it anymore. In the near future. Dongbu Shuiying answered. What? Mirage and Illusory Realm? Southern Cloud King asked. Tao of Void. Dongbu Shuiying chuckled. Oh. Southern Cloud King let out a sigh of relief. He chuckled. I still thought you wanted to become a cosmos god in both the Tao of Void and Mirage and Illusory Realm. There's no rush. I still have to accumulate more experience. Dongbu Shuiying humbly replied. Since everyone felt that he was a reincarnated cosmos god, then it was temporarily fine. After all, he was about to become a cosmos god soon. Since you did not take Ancestor Fan as your teacher in the past, and chose to take me as your teacher instead, you can read all the books in my Southern Cloud sacred religion. If there is anything I can help you with, feel free to tell me. I have many cosmos crystals, but I can't buy those that are truly precious. Like top-graded secret treasures and many secret importation techniques, they are not sold. Anything that can be solved using cosmos crystals, I can help you. If you are strong, you can also help my Southern Cloud sacred religion. The wider my Southern Cloud sacred religion spreads, the more cosmos crystals we can earn. Southern Cloud King chuckled. He no longer treated this disciple in front of him as a junior. Instead, he treated him as a powerful existence who was close to him in terms of cultivation. Teacher, rest assured. If there is a need, this disciple won't be polite. Dongbu Shuiying chuckled. Even though he said that he would only speak if there was a need. Southern Cloud King chuckled and nodded. He felt relaxed. No other choice. All along he had been fighting against the Southern Cloud sacred religion alone. The other helpers felt that they were too weak. Southern Cloud Capital, Feishue Courtyard. Dongbo Shui Ying's other avatar was temporarily staying here. Within a meditation room within Feishue Courtyard, a fragrance pervaded the air, causing one's heart to feel ethereal. Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique. The golden-robed Dongbo Shuang sat on a praying mat. In his mind he was recalling the contents of the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique. Naturally he was not cultivating it. Given his current strength, he could not cultivate this Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique. This secret technique had a ridiculously harsh requirement. The reason why he researched this secret technique was to understand if two avatars could sense each other when they were in different origin worlds. Indeed. Dongbo Shuang frowned slightly. Even though the soul senses are profound, the two origin worlds have different supreme laws. Hence, it is hard for two avatars to sense each other in different origin worlds. According to what was written in the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique, if an avatar headed to a distant origin world because he was an outsider, he would be suppressed by the supreme law of the other origin world. At most, he could only grasp power at the primal chaos realm. According to the experience of Southern Cloud King, when executing the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique, the avatars he sent to other origin worlds were either strong or weak. The weaker avatars had weaker souls, and their connection with the true body in the Realm Heart Great Land would be very weak. Only by using all his strength could he barely transmit the memories. And the stronger avatars would have a stronger connection with the true body in the Realm Heart Great Land. As long as they focused slightly, they could exchange memories. Teacher is a second-level cosmos god, and I am only at the first level after breaking through. I wonder if the two avatars could sense each other in different origin worlds? Dongbo Shuang thought, it should be possible for me to forcefully communicate with them. But he was afraid they could not communicate. Why did he leave the other avatars in the Realm Heart Great Land? It was for the sake of obtaining more resources for him to walk further down the path of cultivation. If they could not communicate, then there would be a danger. The two avatars would gradually form different wills and thoughts. It was fine for a short period. Given the cultivation heart realm of Dongbo Shuang, he could easily communicate with the two avatars and resolve everything. But if it took a long time, for instance, only after several tens of billions of years or more would the avatar souls be strong enough to communicate with each other. That would cause problems. Splitting one's consciousness was terrifying. There shouldn't be any problems. When I return to my hometown and reincarnate, if I could no longer sense each other and exchange memories, I'll just let the avatar in the Realm Heart Great Land become stronger and buy a large amount of essence of chaotic origin to consume. If it still doesn't work, I can only cultivate for a short period. Once it takes a long time, I'll have to sleep first. Dongbo Shuang thought. Those who could use the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique and send two avatars to two different origin worlds were usually powerful. Usually, they were at least second-level cosmos gods. Because only those at this level could cultivate the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique successfully. Dongbo Shuang relied on the Realm Heart Order energy to return to his hometown. The Realm Heart Order was mysterious. Even though the Great Destruction Realm Teleportation Technique could send an avatar to another origin world, the avatar would be rejected by the other origin world, preventing it from reincarnating. Reincarnating was something that outsiders had to obtain the permission of the Supreme Law before they could do so. If they did not reincarnate, the limit of their strength would be the primal chaos realm. Their exploration of an origin world was limited, and what they could learn was limited too. Only by reincarnating could one's strength increase without any restrictions. Only then could one truly integrate into an origin world and obtain the true benefits of an origin world. Dongbo Shuang closed his eyes. He began meditating and cultivating. Chapter 1101. In the capital of Summer Wind Ancient Nation, within the Fan Clan Magic Mountain, Dongbo Shuang and Skyrending Great Paragon enjoyed themselves to the fullest. Skyrending Great Paragon stood up and said, "Ha, Brother Feishue, you should cultivate well in this Burning Heart God Tree and feel the wonders of this Burning Heart God Tree." "Thank you, Great Sovereign," Dongbo Shuang said. "Aha, a minor matter." Skyrender Grandmaster laughed as he left. Even his maids left with him. Skyrending Great Paragon returned to his palace and sat on his throne, looking down. "Supreme Sovereign, Monarch Andromeda respectfully said, I've already arranged for King Sauron to be sent back. As for upper honored guest Feishua, do you need me to arrange for him to be sent back to the southern cloud nation? He will probably cultivate for a full year under the Burning Heart Divine Tree. Skyrending Great Paragon smiled mysteriously. He said a year and a half. In his opinion, as long as he sensed the miraculousness of the Burning Heart Divine Tree, he would definitely be able to delay it for a full year. Perhaps he would even try to stall for more time. However, when the time came, he would definitely show up personally to send him off. Burning Heart God Tree? Monarch Andromeda was shocked. For him to use this, his background is extraordinary. Back then, when Master personally wanted to take him in as a disciple, he refused. Back then, I thought that he was too immature, but now, it seems that he has something to rely on. Since he has a cultivation technique to the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm, he should have some extremely powerful secret impartation. If his status in his previous life was high enough, he should be able to impart some of his cultivation techniques to outsiders. Skyrending Great Paragon laughed. After experiencing the Burning Heart God Tree, he will definitely want to cultivate here for a long time since he is proficient in the Mirage and Illusory Realm lineage. Humph. Exchanging for a guest retainer's merits does not have the qualifications to exchange for cultivating under the Burning Heart Divine Tree. If he wants to get it, he would have to take out something that would move my fan clan. Even if I can't get it, it's just a year and a half. Monarch Andromeda understood. Skyrending Great Paragon was confident. He was certain that this Yingshan Snow Eagle would definitely covet the Burning Heart God Tree. This time, I intend to enter the Origin Realm's sacred palace and make proper preparations. I want senior brother Lu Tian to feel my sincerity, said Skyrending Great Paragon. Yes. Monarch Andromeda nodded respectfully. The short and thick Burning Heart Divine Tree looked like it was carved from deep purple jade. Its huge tree crown covered the area below. Under the tree, the white-robed youth sat cross-legged. Dongbua Shuang naturally understood Skyrending Great Paragon's thoughts. The Burning Heart God Tree was a divine item that greatly benefited ancestor fans' cultivation. Usually, the 6 great paragons of the fan clan would take turns using it. He had never heard of it before. Most likely, even his teacher, the Southern Cloud King, did not know about it. Of course, it was possible that his master did not cultivate the Tao of the Soul, so he did not use the Burning Heart Divine Tree to tempt him. Since the other party wanted him to cultivate here for a year and a half, he was probably very confident in the Burning Heart Divine Tree. I want to see just how magical this Burning Heart Divine Tree is. Dongbua Shuang calmly cultivated. On one hand, he was absorbing the aura emitted by the Burning Heart God Tree to nourish his soul. At the same time, he was comprehending the Mirage and Illusory Realm. Even the golden-robed avatar in the distant southern cloud capital was doing the same. Even though he wanted to become a cosmos god. But there was no need to rush for a year and a half. This amount of time was very short for powerful cultivators. He had to seize this opportunity to cultivate with all his might and carefully feel it. Very comfortable. His soul was very relaxed and he could feel it slowly strengthening. Even though it was slow, if this sort of improvement could last for a year and a half, then the degree of improvement would be frightening. Gradually his heart calmed down. All sorts of profound mysteries of the Mirage and Illusory Realm floated in his heart. He began pondering over them. Amen? Just a few breaths of time later, Dongbua Shuang felt something unique. As he focused on comprehending, and his soul being nourished by the aura of the Burning Heart God Tree, he actually felt a soul-scorching feeling. The more he tried to deduce and comprehend, the stronger the feeling of his soul being scorched. The more it was scorching, the more transcendent his soul became. His comprehension of the Mirage and Illusory Realm was also surging. The improvement of my soul? Dongbua Shuang felt that at this moment he was omnipotent. He had gained all sorts of understanding of the soul. Because his soul was too transcendent and perfect. His understanding of the various aspects of the soul became clearer. Correspondingly, the Mirage and Illusory Realm originally targeted the soul and the soul. If he had a deeper understanding of the soul, the Mirage and Illusory Realm would naturally become more perfect. This is truly mysterious. Unfathomable. Dongbua Shuang was startled. This feeling made him feel intoxicated. He originally felt that reaching the 3rd level of the Heart Realm, my heart as the world, was the highest level. This was indeed the highest level of the Heart Realm in ordinary cultivation, including in the Realm Heart Great Land. But under the help of the Burning Heart God Tree, His heart realm seemed to reach a higher level. Transcendence, no joy or sorrow. Looking down from a higher level, dissecting the soul and deducing the Tao of mirage and illusory realm. Of course, this cultivation required the accumulation of experience. Furthermore, it was the soul that provided the greatest help. Even though this state of the heart might be helpful in comprehending other aspects, it wouldn't be too exaggerated. Only the soul aspect was the most exaggerated. My mirage and illusory realm actually has so many shortcomings. Dongbo Shuang grasped the devil heart bell. He knew that the illusory realm had reached the 10th level realm and he knew his direction. But he always felt that it was hard to break through. But at this moment, many inspirations appeared, and he discovered many aspects that he could improve in. This junior disciple brother of mine has truly shocked the world with a single feat. Formidable, formidable. Monarch Greedy Peng and Monarch Chun Yu walked side by side. They merely teleported a few times before standing outside the courtyard of Feishua. The protector at the entrance of the courtyard was greatly startled when he saw them. He respectfully greeted, "Greetings, monarchs." This Feishua courtyard would occasionally have guests. Monarch Greedy Peng and the others had come in the past too, and these protectors were acquainted with them. Furthermore, they were all bestowed with some information regarding experts and knew many experts. "Where is my junior disciple brother?" Monarch Greedy Peng asked. "His Highness is currently in closed-door cultivation. He has ordered that if there isn't anything important, he won't be meeting any guests." A protector respectfully answered, "Two monarchs, do you need me to pass the message?" From the perspective of the protector. Even though the status of King Feishuang Shan Snow Eagle was high, it was two cosmos gods who came to visit. It should be time for them to come out from closed-door cultivation. "Do not disturb him." Monarch Greedy Peng immediately shouted. "Yes." This protector was startled. "Let's go." Monarch Greedy Peng chuckled as he looked at Monarch Chun Yu by the side. "It seems that when my junior disciple brother comes out, he will no longer be a king but a monarch." Monarch Chun Yu chuckled and nodded. The conversation between the two of them was naturally isolated from others. Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Under the short and thick violet burning heart god tree. The white-robed young man remained seated cross-legged. In the blink of an eye, he had cultivated here for 9 months. The nourishment of his soul had already stopped. It had continued for close to 7 months, and it had only strengthened his soul by about 20%. If he were to consume the essence of chaotic origin, it would likely require a few billion cosmos crystals. Hua hua. Occasionally the wind would blow, causing violet leaves to fall. Suddenly, honk. The white-robed young man opened his eyes. His eyes vaguely showed the evolution of the myriad existences in the world. There were even the birth of living beings. It was as if the cosmos was evolving in his eyes. With another blink he regained his normal state. "I originally planned to break through to the cosmos god realm in the Tao of Void, but it's rare to find an opportunity to cultivate under the burning heart god tree. That was why I temporarily focused on cultivating the mirage and illusory realm. Who would have thought that I would actually break through in the mirage and illusory realm?" Dongbo Shuang felt both surprised and delighted. Of course, even though he had taken that step in the mirage and illusory realm, and his comprehension of the laws had reached that stage, he did not directly break through. Breaking through to the cosmos god realm required a huge amount of world energy, and the disturbance would be huge. It wasn't suitable for him to break through under the burning heart god tree. Wah! Dongbo Shuang stood up and left. "Upper honored guest Feishua, are you leaving just like that?" Not too far away from the burning heart god tree, an attendant stood up and asked respectfully, "Did Skyrending Great Paragon not say that he would take a year? It had just been 9 months. I'll return to my residence first." Dongbo Shuang chuckled. Being an upper honored guest, he naturally had a cavern dwelling in the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. He would first break through to the cosmos god realm. The moment Dongbo Shuang finished speaking, he immediately arced through the sky and flew far away. He had waited for this day to become a cosmos god for far too long. End of this chapter. This chapter ended. The next chapter, Cosmos God. Chapter 1102. Exalted Retainer. In the Fan Clan Magic Mountain, there were 2 protectors standing outside a luxurious cavern dwelling. When they saw the white-robed young man descending from afar, the 2 protectors acknowledged respectfully. "Yes." Dongbo Shuang replied and walked inside. Ever since he became an upper honored guest, this was the first time he stayed in the cave dwelling that the Fan Clan prepared for him. There was a commotion within the cave. The maids who had been waiting here for a long time hurriedly rushed over and greeted respectfully, "Lord Exalted Retainer. I'm going into seclusion for a few days. Do not disturb me." Dongbo Shuiying already had the cave abode talisman, allowing him to control every single formation in the cave abode. With just a thought, he was able to find out the layout of the cave abode and the location of the cultivation chamber. "Yes," the maids replied in unison. "Very soon." As the door to the meditation room opened, Dongbo Shuiying stepped in. The door closed again and everything returned to normal. "Our high-honored guest." The maids looked at each other in a daze. Seclusion the moment he arrived? The lodgings prepared by the Fan clan for the honored guests were usually temporary. After cultivating for a long period of time, they would usually return to their own territories. In the quiet room, the incense had been lit, and its fragrance pervaded the air. On the black futon, the white-robed Dongbo Shuiying sat with his legs crossed, looking extremely calm. Boom. His soul had silently begun to transform, using the laws of the illusory world that he had comprehended as his foundation. Reconstructing one's own soul, reconstructing the essence of one's soul, leaping from one level of life to another. The leap of the soul was the leap of the essence of life. And now he had stepped into the final realm of cultivation, Cosmos God. Even though there were strong and weak Cosmos Gods. Just like the Primal Chaos realm, it could be split into several levels. But everyone was at the Primal Chaos realm, and their life essence was equivalent. It was the same for Cosmos Gods too. Some of the weaker Cosmos Gods in the Primal Chaos Void, like Forefather Tianyu and Void Primogenitor, were merely at the first level of Cosmos God. And Sacred Master was a third-level Cosmos God. However, there was only a difference in their Daos. There was no difference in the nature of their lives. Unparalleled existences like Ancestor Fan and Emperor Summer were actually third-level Cosmos Gods. But because he was in the Realm Heart Great Land, the foundation here was deeper. With the aid of many cultivation techniques, he could unleash his strength more perfectly. Moreover, there were some terrifying treasures that could raise one's strength to an even higher level. For instance, Southern Cloud King was a second-level Cosmos God. Even though he cultivated many cultivation techniques like the 5 phases sealing techniques to grand perfection, reaching the boundary of the third level in terms of digging out his strength, he was still beyond Wuzhu and Jezu from the Primal Chaos Void. However, what truly allowed his strength to soar was the use of the peak-grade secret treasure, the Two-Realm Saber, which allowed his strength to reach a higher level. Fighting across realms. This was something that would only happen in the Realm Heart Great Land. At the Primal Chaos Realm, one could unleash 10 levels of techniques. Ordinary Cosmos Gods could exert the strength of a level 2 Cosmos God. Of course, the prerequisite was that he needed a suitable artifact. Like Fiery Zhao King, even though he was a second-level Cosmos God, he did not have any top-graded secret treasures. Hence, his strength could not compare with Southern Cloud King. There were quite a few Cosmos Gods who did not have any suitable secret treasures. That was why many Cosmos Gods were willing to rely on the apex superpowers like the Fan clan. But even if they sold themselves, ordinary secret treasures were easy to obtain, but top-graded secret treasures were still hard to come by. After all, Southern Cloud King had the strength of a level 3 Cosmos God by relying on a top-graded secret treasure. He was confident of surviving even when facing Ancestor Fan and the others. This feeling. Dongbo Shuiying opened his eyes. His soul had transformed. Furthermore, because of the illusory realm law, Dongbo Shuiying's soul was several times stronger than most Cosmos Gods. Inner world. Dongbo Shuiying sent out a thought. Hong. Even though he had previously reached the Primal Chaos realm using the Bloodline Cultivation technique, he still relied on the laws and profound mystery system when he recultivated the Mirage and Illusory realm. Hong Long Long, the miniature cosmos in his body, was in a piece of primal chaos. At this moment it exploded. Under the complete laws of the Illusory realm world, the miniature cosmos was rapidly evolving. Wind, lightning, earth, fire, all sorts of energy surged. The great earth was being born, and the myriad existences were being born. It was too fast. The evolution of Dongbo Shuiying's inner world was much faster than what was recorded in many books. It was evolving at a frightening speed, and very soon sentient beings were born. Birds, beasts, insects, ants, and even humans were rapidly being born under the guidance of Dongbo Shuiying. At the same time, the miniature cosmos was expanding. It was expanding at an incredibly fast speed. But strangely, the cosmos in his body was faintly discernible. It did not seem real. The Mirage cosmos in my body? Dongbo Shuang was clear about it. Different Dao paths determined the formation of the final cosmos, of the laws and profound mystery system. Currently, Dongbo Shuang had comprehended a branch of the mirage and illusory realm Dao path, the illusory realm world. Hence, the cosmos that was born was not a real cosmos. Ordinary cosmos gods would usually open a real cosmos. But what Dongbo Shuang created was the mirage cosmos. Naturally, the life forms within the mirage cosmos similarly had spirituality and emotions. They were born, grew, and experienced many things: love, cultivation, giving birth to children. Many life forms lived within the mirage cosmos. They had their own emotions and similarly felt that they were real. They experienced birth, old age, sickness, and death. Experts would also step on the path of cultivation. The unique aspects of the mirage cosmos. Firstly, the flow of time within it. Dongbo Shuang could easily maintain the flow of time at a rate of 10,000 times. He did not feel any burden on himself. He could even forcefully increase the flow of time, but that would gradually create a burden on him. Secondly, the mirage cosmos was more than 10,000 times bigger than the true cosmos of most cosmos gods. After all, one was illusory and the other was real. The difficulty of maintaining one was different. But even so, cosmos gods desired to own a mirage cosmos more than their own true cosmos. Other than the frightening strength of the mirage and illusory realm cosmos, the mirage cosmos itself had many unique aspects. Because it was more than 10,000 times bigger, and the flow of time was more than 10,000 times faster too. The speed of reproducing life forms and even experts within it was much faster than ordinary cosmos gods. Furthermore, as long as Dongbo Shuang was willing to pay the price, he could bring the life forms or items within the mirage cosmos into reality, allowing them to enter reality from the mirage cosmos. Illusory, similarly real. This was the frightening aspect of this path after reaching the cosmos god realm. Disciple, what you are pursuing is real. Dongbo Shuang revealed a grin. At his hometown, he had a disciple, Xing Huasun Yi. For the sake of cultivating the illusory realm, Xing Huasun Yi directly entered the illusory realm. Nonetheless, Xing Huasun Yi eventually fell into it and lived together with the girls within the illusory realm. They even became Dao companions in the end. He thought of ways to let his wife live longer. He treated the illusory realm as reality and he had no regrets. But the illusory realm eventually collapsed, and he could only watch as his wife was destroyed along with the world. As the world was destroyed, his wife looked at him. His wife also knew that she was a life form within the illusory realm. That time, Xing Huasun Yi had truly turned mad. He formed a heart devil. Because of Dongbo Shuang's guidance, Xing Huasun Yi believed that this path of illusory realm could eventually turn everything within the illusory realm into reality. But in his hometown origin world, the primal chaos void, there had never been anyone who could become a cosmos god in the mirage and illusory realm. Before this, Dongbo Shuang was the one with the highest achievement. And now Dongbo Shuang finally became a cosmos god. He knew that his conjecture in the past was true. During the process of the evolution of the cosmos in the body, the entire cultivation room was madly absorbing the world energy into the body to replenish the energy consumed. Even though it was in the cultivation room and most ripples were isolated, this time, it was the evolution of a cosmos. The world energy was being devoured at a crazy rate, causing the energy of the Fan Clan Magic Mountain to fluctuate. Amen? The black-robed sky-rending great paragon stepped on the void and arrived outside the cavern dwelling of Snow Eagle. He looked downwards at that cavern dwelling. Such a disturbance should not be so huge even if you are practicing your technique. Has upper honored guest Feishua broken through to the cosmos god realm? Chapter 1103. In the quiet room, the turbulent vortex of heaven and earth power finally dissipated. Dongbo Shuang, who was sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his face. Skyrending great paragon? Dongbo Shuang immediately sensed the visitor and stood up. Although he needed to consolidate his strength, it was the most efficient to do so under the burning heart god tree. Rumble, as soon as Dongbo Shuang walked out, he raised his head and saw skyrending great venerable hovering in midair in the distance. Greetings, great sovereign. Dongbo Shuang bowed respectfully. Skyrending great monarch's eyes flashed with a trace of shock. Dongbo Shuang, who had just broken through, did not deliberately conceal his aura. In order to hide his aura, he had to use the 9 revolutions undying technique. There was no need to do so in the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Younger brother Feishua. Skyrending Great Paragon could feel the aura of this Yingshan snow eagle in front of him becoming illusory and real at the same time. You broke through to the cosmos god realm not through the void lineage, but the mirage and illusory realm? It's all thanks to the Burning Heart Divine Tree. Although I've accumulated a lot in my previous life, I was still a step away from breaking through. But under the Burning Heart Divine Tree, I managed to break through the final step. Dongbua Shuiying sighed. The Burning Heart Divine Tree is indeed mysterious. Skyrending Great Paragon revealed a smile and said, "Congratulations." In his heart he was thinking, this Yingshan Snow Eagle could unleash the pinnacle of voidification. He should have specialized in the Tao of Void in his previous life. Now that he has broken through to the Cosmos God realm and the Mirage and Illusory realm, it is hard to gauge his strength. Great Sovereign, I'll go to the Burning Heart Divine Tree first. After all, it's only a year. Dongbua Shuiying smiled. Ah, go on, go on. Skyrending Great Paragon laughed and didn't mention anything about letting Dongbua Shuiying cultivate for a few more days. 1 year. Only 1 year. When the time was up, Skyrending Great Paragon would definitely let Dongbua Shuiying leave. Want to cultivate again? It was a fair exchange. On the day 1 year was up, under the Burning Heart God Tree, leaves fell. As Skyrending Great Paragon personally sent Shuiying off, Shuiying naturally had a look of reluctance. Eventually he left. I don't believe that you don't want to continue cultivating under the Burning Heart Divine Tree. Skyrending Great Paragon looked at Dongbua Shuiying's departing figure and thought to himself. He just broke through and is still full of confidence. When you reach a bottleneck and are unable to advance an inch, you will definitely want to come under the Burning Heart Divine Tree again. Great Sovereign level existences. Some people focused on cultivation and only sought to strengthen themselves. This was also the most common. But there were a few who placed importance on external forces. For instance, Southern Cloud King did his utmost to spread the Southern Cloud sacred religion. He had even created the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles, which was easier to cultivate. Through the religion he earned large amounts of cosmos crystals and resources. Skyrending Great Paragon also attached great importance to subordinates, helpers and various external forces. In the Fan clan, among the 6 Great Paragons, Skyrending Great Paragon led the strongest force with a large number of experts by his side. Even Ancestor Fan had asked him to manage the operations of the entire Fan clan. Feishua's courtyard. South, a white-robed young man stealthily entered the cultivation room. He sat down cross-legged together with the golden-robed Dongbua Shuiying. Cultivate properly. I have to break through in the Tao of Void as soon as possible. That way I can push the Avatar technique to a higher level. The 2 great avatars sat down cross-legged and focused on comprehending the Void lineage. Hong, his accumulations in the Tao of Void were too deep. 2 secret importation styles of the Southern Cloud 12 sacred styles, Scarlet Cloud combat technique, 5 phases sealing technique, 9 rotation undying technique. At this moment as he comprehended them, large amounts of inspiration appeared. Previously he did not dare to cultivate them because he could sense that the moment he cultivated, he would most likely break through. It seems that this breakthrough of mine in the Void lineage isn't limited to just a single Tao. At the moment when Shuiying comprehended, he understood this point. In the Realm Heart Great Land, there was a sea region that was slightly closer to the Myriad Realm's ancient nation. It was called the Icy Mist Sea. The Icy Mist Sea was vast and there was a huge island located here. It was also a Tier 2 nation, the Overflowing Cloud Nation. Its territory was so huge that it was comparable to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. But 99% of its territory wasn't suitable for living beings to reproduce. That was why it was occupied by a Tier 2 nation. South, a thin and small male wearing a violet robe suddenly appeared in midair. He was like an emperor looking down at the vast wilderness. Brother Tian Tong. The thin and small male announced. His voice rumbled and reverberated across this wilderness. The surrounding wilderness gradually began moving. Hong Long Long, the surrounding vast land abruptly stood up. If one was sufficiently far away, one could see that this huge land that stood up was actually a giant sitting up. His huge upper body pierced through the cloud layer. This giant opened his eyes. His pair of eyes stared at that violet-robed thin and small male. Southern Cloud. The giant's voice rumbled, "Why did you come to my Overflowing Cloud Nation?" The violet-robed thin and small male was one of the avatars of Southern Cloud King. Brother Tian Tong, sell the secret treasure, Devil Emperor gown to me. Southern Cloud King said. This existence in front of him was incredibly mysterious. Not many people in the realm Heart Great Land knew about him. Tiantong God Master. He was famous during the First War of the Ancient Nations. But that time he was heavily injured by Ancestor Fan, from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Ever since then he disappeared without a trace. Very few could find traces of him. One had to know that Tiantong God Master was a third-level cosmos god. Unfortunately, he lacked a suitable secret treasure. Reaching his level, he needed a secret treasure that was stronger than top-graded secret treasures in order to fight against those of a higher realm. Even though the shadows of Tiantong God Master could be seen during the Second War of the Ancient Nations and several other important events, Tiantong God Master had yet to obtain any secret treasures. Reaching the level of Tiantong God Master, there were not many things that could attract him. One was a secret treasure that could greatly increase his strength, and the other was taking the final step to the legendary Yuan level. Devil Emperor Gown? Tiantong God Master's voice rumbled. That foolish fellow offended me in the past and was eaten by me in a single bite. His treasure is still with me. But ordinary treasures can forget about exchanging for the Devil Emperor Gown. State your price. Southern Cloud King said, 200 billion cosmos crystals or something that could move my heart. Tiantong God Master sat there looking down at Southern Cloud King. Southern Cloud King frowned. 200 billion? Dongbu Shui Ying's golden-robed avatar broke through to the cosmos god realm, causing a huge disturbance in absorbing the world energy. Southern Cloud King naturally knew about it and went to meet Dongbu Shui Ying. He knew that it was the illusory realm that broke through to the cosmos god realm. Even though there was a heart devil scepter at the cosmos god realm amongst the mirage and illusory realm secret treasures that were publicly sold, it's a pity that it belonged to the desire lineage of the mirage and illusory realm. And Dongbu Shui Ying belonged to the illusory realm lineage. Hence, he could not unleash a higher level of strength after obtaining the Heart Devil Scepter. Southern Cloud King then told Dongbu Shui Ying, I'll help you find a suitable secret treasure. Even though Dongbu Shui Ying felt that the price was too high, Southern Cloud King replied, then you can just help me in the future to make up for it. Isn't that too high? Southern Cloud King frowned. Even though he was wealthy, 200 billion cosmos crystals was sufficient to hurt his muscles and bones. This Tiantong King was asking for a lion's share. 80 billion to 100 billion was the normal price. Do you think I lack this bit of cosmos crystals? Tiantong God Master remained indifferent. Either it is a treasure that could move my heart, or it costs 200 billion cosmos crystals. Southern Cloud King promoted the Southern Cloud sacred religion. Other than to earn cosmos crystals, it was also to infiltrate the intelligence network across the entire realm Heart Great Land. He also knew that the cosmos secret treasures of the illusory realm lineage within the mirage and illusory realm were too difficult to cultivate. Hence, there were fewer secret treasures. Only 3 were recorded in history, of which the Devil Emperor Gown was the one he had the highest chance of getting. The difficulty of the other 2 was higher. Truly, Southern Cloud King could not bear to part with cosmos crystals in the end. He took out another precious piece of map to exchange for the Devil Emperor Gown with Tiantong King. With the Devil Emperor Gown and the 5 phase beads on him, I finally have a true helper. Southern Cloud King felt relatively delighted. Chapter 1104. Southern Cloud Capital, within the cultivation room of Feishue's courtyard. A white-robed young man and a golden-robed young man were both seated cross-legged. They were cultivating wholeheartedly. It had been 3 years since he returned from the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Naturally, given his foundation, he had broken through to the Cosmos God realm in the Tao of Void, on the second day of closed-door cultivation. It's just that his accumulations were too deep. He had a deep foundation in many directions of the Tao of Void, especially after he created the 9-rotation undying technique. The 9 directions complemented each other, allowing Dongbu Shui Ying to gain many insights. At this moment, these insights fused into his body, allowing him to break through. This high-speed breakthrough made Dongbu Shui Ying unable to stop. He was not willing to stop either. It's about time. Currently, my cultivation speed has slowed down slightly, so I should stop temporarily. I'll settle the matters in the realm Heart Great Land before returning to my hometown. Dongbu Shui Ying stopped cultivating. Even though I haven't pushed all 5 branches of the 5 phases sealing technique to the final realm, I'm not in a rush. I'll continue cultivating after my avatar returns to my hometown. According to the teachings of his teacher, Southern Cloud King. The Tao of Void had a total of 9 branches. The 5 phases sealing technique consisted of 5 branches, of which the Earth phase and Origin phase were extremely difficult to cultivate. The Earth phase was something Dongbua Shuiying had accumulated over a long period of time as he watched the destruction devils being born from the void ancient tree in the Lost World corridor. The Origin phase was the hardest. Only by comprehending the essence of the void could one succeed. 5 branches. Reaching the final realm in any branch would allow one to become a cosmos god. It was incredibly difficult to reach the final realm in all 5 branches. But due to Dongbua Shuiying's deep accumulations, he had broken through 6 of the 9 branches to the final realm in just 3 short years, reaching the cosmos god realm. If this spread out, it would stun many experts. The reason why was because the Tao of Void only had a total of 9 branches. Like Southern Cloud King, he had stepped into the 2nd level cosmos god realm. He had even obtained the top-graded secret treasure Realm Heart Blade, becoming an absolute overlord in the Realm Heart Great Land before comprehending all 9 branches. Because Dongbua Shuiying created the 9 rotation undying technique, he comprehended 9 meridians at the primal chaos realm, reaching the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm. Most importantly, once all 9 meridians were comprehended, they would complement each other and form a perfect whole. This was also why Dongbua Shuiying was able to reach the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm under the guidance of General Mo Gu's scaled armor. Because they complemented each other, Dongbua Shuiying was able to produce all sorts of comprehensions as he broke through to the cosmos god realm in different Tao paths. He had a feeling, as long as there was enough time, it wouldn't be difficult to push all 9 paths to the end. He had no choice. After all, his previous 9 Tao paths were all at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. He was just lacking a final step. With the 9 chakras circulating, he could break through quickly. Although 6 meridians have reached the limit, it's a pity that only 3 of them belong to the 5 elements sealing technique. Looks like I'll have to wait a little longer. Dongbua Shuiying thought to himself. Comprehending all Tao paths of the Tao of Void to the final realm might seem formidable, but he would still remain at the 1st level of Cosmos God. He had to fuse the 2 different Tao paths of the Tao of Void into one. Only then would his overall strength improve. Only then would he be considered a 2nd level Cosmos God. Following that, he had to continue fusing the different Tao paths of the Tao of Void. But the subsequent fusion would not improve his strength significantly. Only when he fused all 9 Tao paths into one, would he become a single entity. He would reach grand perfection in the Tao of Void. That was only at the 3rd level of Cosmos God realm. Like Southern Cloud King. He had comprehended all 9 branches to the final realm, yet he had only fused 7 Tao paths. He was still far from fusing all 9 Tao paths into one. Comprehending them is easy, fusing them is hard. Fusing all 9 Tao paths is incredibly difficult. Dongbua Shuiying thought. There were many Cosmos Gods in the Realm Heart Great Land. There were quite a few at the 2nd level of Cosmos Gods too. Of which some were fortunate enough to acquire top-graded secret treasures and could fight against those at a higher realm. As for those who could step into the 3rd level of Cosmos God realm, there were very few of them. Sacred Master was a 3rd level Cosmos God. The unparalleled existences in the Realm Heart Great Land were slightly more formidable. They were 3rd level Cosmos Gods and had acquired stronger secret treasures, allowing them to become stronger. Furthermore, by relying on stronger secret treasures, they were able to see the Tao path ahead, allowing them to become stronger in terms of digging. Unparalleled Tao path. Dongbua Shuiying looked forward to it. Unparalleled existences. And beyond that, reaching grand perfection in the Tao of Void would allow one to become a 3rd level Cosmos God. And beyond that would be wielding the Supreme Law. This step was too difficult. Nobody in the Realm Heart Great Land could achieve it. Only the mysterious Yuan should be in existence at this level. No matter what, my foundation in the Tao of Void is extremely deep. Dongbua Shuiying thought, I believe it isn't hard for me to step into the 2nd level Cosmos God realm after spending some time tempering myself and combining with the guidance of the predecessors. Coupled with some secret techniques I've acquired in the Realm Heart Great Land, I should be qualified to fight against Sacred Master after returning to my hometown. Sacred Master. Like Wu Zhu and Jie Zhu, they dared to fight against Sacred Master. Ultimately, their hometown origin world, the Primal Chaos Void, was too crude in its refinement of secret treasures. Hence, they could not fight against those of a higher level. Hence, it was still about individual strength. Even if Sacred Master ignited his origin energy and became stronger, it was impossible for him to fight against those of a higher level. If he could become an unparalleled existence like Ancestor Fan or Emperor Summer, he could easily kill Wuxia and the others even if he was temporarily unparalleled. I don't have any secret treasures. But I don't have any secret treasures after returning to my hometown. Dongbo Shuang understood this point. Everyone did not have any secret treasures of a higher level. Hence they had to rely on their own strength. Hence it was hard for Sacred Master to be shaken. He still needed time. He believed that with the Realm Heart Great Land as his support, he would grow rapidly. Soon. Dongbo Shuang felt carefree in his heart. It was true. After cultivating for a long period and experiencing reincarnation, after becoming a cosmos god, he finally felt that the Sacred Master was no longer unreachable. That time when his teacher Guqi died, Shuang was filled with fury. But deep in his heart he felt helpless. At that time he felt that the gap between the two of them was too big and too great. Time to begin. I should improve my avatar technique by another level. Dongbo Shuang thought. After becoming a cosmos god, he had reached the pinnacle in 6 branches of the Tao of Void, of which included the Arch Destruction and Spectacular Painting. The Arch Destruction was divided into Small Success, Large Success and Grand Perfection. Spectacular Painting was the same too. Strictly speaking, Southern Cloud King's greatest achievement was the 3 great absolute arts, Arch Destruction, Spectacular Painting, and Southern Cloud Sacred Body. The so-called Southern Cloud 12 Sacred Styles was merely the foundation of these 3 great absolute arts. First, he had to rely on the precious materials prepared by his teacher to push the Southern Cloud Sacred Body to the 11th level. Only then could he unleash the power of the Arch Destruction to large success by relying on the Southern Cloud Sacred Body. Break. Within the cultivation room, Dongbo Shuang punched out. His body was faintly emitting light. In reality, the Southern Cloud Sacred Body was like a secret treasure. Only by relying on the sacred body could he unleash a greater combat power. Hong. The entire space was being pulled. At that moment, a finger-sized hole that could be seen with the naked eye appeared at the location of his fist. On the other side of the hole was pure darkness. Just looking at it with the naked eye would cause one to feel terror from the bottom of one's heart. Dongbo Shuang tried sending a strand of consciousness in, yet what he saw was not darkness. Instead, it was another unique perspective that allowed him to see many regions. He could see the entire Realm Heart Great Land, and the further he went, the more blurred it became. He could even see a vaster region beyond the Realm Heart Great Land. This unique feeling of being able to see everything was not strange to Dongbo Shuang. After all, he relied on this technique to execute the destructive realm teleportation technique. What a dense, mysterious aura. This time, the hole that was blasted out could be seen with the naked eye. It was even the size of a finger. The surging, mysterious aura was much denser than the previous time he broke through it. It felt as if a more dense aura was coming in from the outside world. The hole was also rapidly shrinking. Dongbo Shuang immediately executed the avatar technique. At that moment, those mysterious auras were attracted towards Dongbo Shuang's soul. Southern Cloud Capital, Royal Palace. Amen. At the moment when Dongbo Shuang blasted out a finger-sized hole in the essence of the void in the origin world, Southern Cloud King, who was seated cross-legged within the cultivation ground of the Royal Palace, opened his eyes. His vision penetrated through the obstructions of the Royal Palace and landed on the courtyard of Feishua. He revealed a grin. Arch Destruction? This disciple of mine has broken through to the Cosmos God realm in the Tao of Void? I wonder if he was a 1st or 2nd level Cosmos God in his previous life. As for the 3rd level? He did not dare to think about it. Firstly, there were few at this level in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. Secondly, if he was at this level, why would he be willing to take Southern Cloud King as his teacher given his pride? Chapter 1105. Within the cultivation room. Amen. The 9 young men exchanged glances. They revealed a grin. According to the Navatar technique, he could currently refine 9 avatars. If he reached the 2nd level of Cosmos God and cultivated the Navatar techniques to grand perfection, he could form 10,081 avatars. If more than 10,000 avatars were gathered together, it would be a sea of people. Hence, the avatars of Myriad Realm Tavern Master in his hometown gave Dongbo Shuang the feeling that he had countless avatars. After all, killing one would allow him to rapidly refine another. But not every avatar could possess perfect combat power. When he had 9 avatars, he could at most allow 2 avatars to possess perfect combat power. Under this situation, the other 7 avatars would be forced to dissipate. Because under the unseen law suppression, maintaining 2 strongest souls was the limit. When he had 10,081 avatars, maintaining 9 strongest souls was the limit. In other words, he could only allow 9 avatars to possess peak combat power, and the other avatars would dissipate. And if only 8 avatars could maintain peak combat power, the remaining 10,000 avatars could be maintained. It's just that they would be weak. Hence, even though Myriad Realm Tavern Master had many avatars, the majority of them were very weak. It doesn't matter if they are slightly weak. More importantly, every avatar represents a life. As long as one avatar survives, I can rapidly refine the other avatars. Dongbo Shuang thought. Even though he had 9 avatars. But the energy of the Realm Heart Order remained within the soul of Golden Robe Dongbo Shuang. By then, this avatar would return to his hometown according to his plan. Returning to his hometown would be the same as when he came. Only the core true spirit could be protected by the energy of the Realm Heart Order and reincarnate in the primal chaos void. Hence, the strength of the soul was meaningless. The door to the cultivation room opened with a rumble. The white-robed Dongbo Shuang walked out. This was also the strongest avatar that cultivated the Southern Cloud sacred body and brought along the 5 phase beads and many other secret treasures. Actually, every avatar could be considered a true body. There was no difference. It's just that the secret treasures and resources were limited. Naturally, they were all concentrated on one avatar. This white-robed avatar was also responsible for external operations. There is one last matter. Once it's settled, we can return. Dongbo Shuang revealed a grin. Prince. The 2 maids outside the quiet room hurriedly bowed respectfully. Dongbo Shuang nodded. His original servant, Mo Long, had already been sent to Feishue City. After all, his parents in this life lacked powerful subordinates. Swoosh. With a single step, Dongbo Shuang disappeared into thin air. He went straight to the palace and approached the place where his master cultivated. Teleportation was prohibited in Master's cultivation area. Master. Dongbo Shuang landed on the black grass field. Looking at the seated Southern Cloud King, he immediately bowed. I just felt the commotion caused by your skybreaker. You came out so quickly? I thought you would have to cultivate for a period after breaking through. Southern Cloud King chuckled. Didn't I reincarnate? There's no need to consolidate it. Dongbo Shuang joked. Since everyone thought that he was a reincarnated cosmos god, Shuang naturally acknowledged it. This was also beneficial to his plan. Haha. Southern Cloud King extended his hand. A set of luxurious black robe appeared in his hand. Following that, it floated over to Dongbo Shuang. This is? Dongbo Shuang received it with a puzzled expression. Feel it for yourself. Southern Cloud King grinned. For the sake of getting this Devil Emperor gown, he had spent a huge amount of effort. He had to infiltrate the intelligence network across the entire Realm Heart Great Land to find out where the Devil Emperor gown was. He had even exchanged a precious treasure with Sky Clear Sky God Master for this Devil Emperor gown. After Dongbo Shuang received it, he rapidly refined it. From refining it, one could see the difference between the 2 origin worlds, the Realm Heart Great Land and the Primal Chaos Void. Secret treasures from the Primal Chaos Void were refined crudely, and most required a long time to refine them. As for secret treasures from the Realm Heart Great Land, they were refined more exquisitely. They could even allow cultivators to fight against those of a higher realm. Furthermore, they could refine them at a rapid pace. This is? The moment he refined it, Dongbo Shuang caressed the luxurious black robe. At that moment, the black robe began emitting light. Dongbo Shuang only felt his consciousness entering a vast world. This world was vast and it was shrouded in fog. Many sentient beings lived in this world. Those shrouds of fog were currently tunneling into the soul of Dongbo Shuang. World? Soul. Dongbo Shuang was enlightened. How is it? Southern Cloud King chuckled. I've mentioned that I'll find a cosmos secret treasure suitable for your lineage. It is called the Devil Emperor gown, and the previous owner called himself Devil Emperor. After building a nation, a large number of his subordinates became loyal and devoted to him. Even after he died, they were still fearlessly fighting against their enemies. Dongbo Shuang revealed a joyous look. This Devil Emperor gown is a fusion of the illusory realm and soul in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. Mirage and Illusory Realm. Dongbo Shuiying searched through the information of many secret treasures. He knew that the Tao of Mirage was split into 5 branches: world, soul, bewilderment, desire, and slaughter. World referred to the illusory realm. It was also the Tao path that Dongbo Shuiying used to become a cosmos god. Bewilderment, like the ringing sound of the devil heart bell, belonged to the bewilderment lineage. Soul referred to a technique that directly controlled the soul. It allowed the controlled person to be absolutely loyal to the owner. Desire referred to love, hate, greed, lust, joy, anger, worry, and other emotions and desires. Slaughter was the only offensive technique in the Tao of Mirage and Illusory Realm. The entire Mirage and Illusory Realm nurtured a killing technique that directly pierced through the soul. Those who could not resist would have their souls extinguished. That time when Dongbo Shuiying created the destruction flower, he had to materialize a killing technique within reality. And the true Mirage and Illusory Realm slaughter was a technique that directly attacked the soul. Southern Cloud King chuckled when he saw that. Haha, it's good that you like it. Amen. Dongbo Shuiying did not say anything else. He directly accepted it. He would remember this favor and repay his teacher in the future. Wah. With a thought, the black luxurious robe landed on the body of Dongbo Shuiying. Wearing the black luxurious robe, Dongbo Shuiying gave off a horrifying attraction. It felt as if others could not help but be infatuated with him, living and dying for him. This was even before Dongbo Shuiying displayed this secret treasure. Just the aura of the secret treasure itself was so frightening. If Dongbo Shuiying were to use it, most first-level cosmos gods could not resist against it. It was useless even if they had secret treasures that could allow them to fight against those of a higher realm because this technique targeted the soul. Secret treasures could not protect the soul. This was also the frightening aspect of experts who specialized in soul techniques. Currently, Dongbo Shuiying had the Devil Emperor gown. He was much stronger than some second-level cosmos gods who did not have top-graded secret treasures like Fiery Zhao King and Maple Nest King. With a thought, the luxurious black robe turned into a white robe. Furthermore, its aura was concealed, making it ordinary. It was just that there were many beautiful and colorful patterns beneath the white robe. Good. Southern Cloud King was delighted when he saw that, with the Devil Emperor gown and by relying on the 5-phase beads, you can unleash the 5 phases sealing technique to grand perfection. With these 2 great killing techniques, it is sufficient for you to move unhindered across the realm heart great land. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. Teacher, I have another matter. Haha, if there is anything between us, just say it directly. Southern Cloud King said. Currently, Dongbo Shuiying was his most important helper. I can impart the 9 rotation undying technique to the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm. Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. I intend to sell it to the Fan Clan, Summer Clan, and others. You can impart it to others? Southern Cloud King was startled. Are you sure you can impart this cultivation technique to others? Dongbo Shuiying nodded. Of course. This was created by him. He wanted to rely on this cultivation technique to exchange for some more precious cultivation techniques. After returning to his hometown, he did not have any secret treasures that could allow him to fight against those of a higher realm. Naturally, he would need some sufficiently powerful cultivation techniques. Even though these techniques could not allow him to fight against those of a higher realm. But he could infinitely approach it. Like the 5 phases sealing technique, even without any secret treasures, a primal chaos expert could unleash it close to the 10th level in power. Even though his teacher, Southern Cloud King, was wealthy, the strongest secret impartation techniques were practically in the hands of the apex organizations. I can impart it to others? I have to consider this properly. I mustn't sell it at a loss. The pupils of Southern Cloud King dilated. He began contemplating. Chapter 1106. P.S. The previous description of the Cosmos God is slightly buggy, but the meaning is the same. Cosmos gods were divided into 3 levels. The first level was also the weakest level, the second level was slightly higher, and the third level was the highest. Ancestor Fan, Emperor Xia, Emperor Tsang, the Realm Beast King Drifter, and the others, including Sacred Master and Old Monster Stone from the Primal Chaos Void, were all existences on the third level. Only in the Realm Heart Great Land, those who relied on powerful secret treasures could surpass their realm and unleash a terrifying strength. Following this, they would use this as the basis. Dongbo Shuiying stood at the side obediently. He had sold the 9-rotation undying technique for a high enough price. He was far inferior to his master. His teacher was one of the most ambitious and ruthless characters in the realm Heart Great Land. He had a much deeper understanding of the various superpowers than Shuang. He had even fought with some invincible existences. What do you plan to exchange for? The Southern Cloud King looked at Dongbo Shuang. It's mainly some top-notch secret manuals of the Tao of Void and Tao of Mirage. Naturally, it would be good if there are top-notch secret treasures, Dongbo Shuang said. Southern Cloud King frowned. This 9-rotation undying technique of yours is a primal chaos realm pinnacle voidification technique. It is considered rare. Furthermore, some of the apex cosmos gods want to have the pinnacle of voidification technique. That is an ultra-powerful technique for survival in direct combat. Dongbo Shuang agreed. Emperor Juyun had reached the pinnacle of voidification. The Divine Lord had spent a lot of effort to kill him. In the end, even the sacred leader failed to obtain the 3 infernal realms cauldron. The pinnacle of voidification is very difficult. Even for cosmos gods in the Tao of Void, reaching the pinnacle of voidification isn't easy. Southern Cloud King said, to some apex existences amongst the cosmos gods, cultivating the Tao of Void to the cosmos god realm is too difficult. The difficulty of reaching the primal chaos realm was much lower. There are still quite a few people who want this technique of yours. Dongbo Shuang nodded slightly. But you want top-secret techniques or even top-grade secret treasures? The Southern Cloud King gently shook his head. Among the 6 great ancient nations, the Icy Snow Ancient Nation has 3 unparalleled existences, but all of them are body refiners. Therefore, the body refinement technique of the Icy Snow Ancient Nation was the most powerful. As for the other secret importation techniques, they were very weak. Even that King Sauron was willing to join the Fan clan because of this reason. Your Tao of Void and Tao of Mirage are not what the Icy Snow Ancient Country is good at. I know. Dongbo Shuang laughed as well. This Icy Snow Ancient Country is quite unique. Body refinement had to reach the pinnacle. They had truly focused on cultivating the fleshy body to the 3rd level of Cosmos God Realm. All of them were existences much more perverse than Jianghu back at his hometown. All 3 patriarchs were like this. The other aspects are too weak. What the Icy Snow Ancient Country could do was to rely on their own strength. However, why would the truly powerful ones fear them? Southern Cloud King said. There's no need to talk about the Moonflower Ancient Nation and the Towering Sky Ancient Nation. Their foundations are too weak. The Primogenitor Ancient Nation also doesn't have many peak secret techniques that are suitable for you. Dongbo Shuang nodded gently. He also understood. In order to obtain what you want, there are only 2 major powers. One is the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and the other is the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. Southern Cloud King said. Those who had reached grand perfection in the Tao of Void had reached the 3rd level Cosmos God Realm. There were only 2 of them. One was Emperor Summer. The other was one of the 5 ancestors from the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation, Drifter. Hence, these 2 superpowers were the most suitable for obtaining the peak secret importation in the Tao of Void. As for those related to the Mirage, Ancestor Fan had reached the 2nd level Cosmos God Realm. That expert from the Towering Sky Ancient Nation had also reached the 2nd level Cosmos God Realm. There was also an expert from the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation who reached the 2nd level Cosmos God Realm in the Mirage. That's right. In the entire realm Heart Great Land, there had never been a cultivator who reached grand perfection in the Tao of Mirage, reaching the 3rd level Cosmos God Realm. Because the Tao of Soul was originally difficult. And there had never been a 3rd level existence in the Tao of Mirage. There are different regions of influence in the realm Heart Great Land. Southern Cloud King chuckled. My Southern Cloud Nation is close to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, and the surrounding region is under the influence of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Hence, we naturally have to negotiate with the Summer Wind Ancient Nation first. We must not seek out the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation first. That is not giving face to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation and offend them. Understood. Dongbo Shuang nodded. Summer Wind Ancient Nation has what you want. I'll try my best to help. In the end, it's up to you to decide. Southern Cloud King said, Oh right, do you mind selling it to other ancient nations after selling it to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation? I don't mind. Dongbo Shuang chuckled. His core was his hometown, the Primal Chaos Void. This was merely a springboard for him. It did not matter if he sold it to several other ancient nations. Since you don't mind, it'll depend on whether the Summer Wind Ancient Nation mind or not. Southern Cloud King chuckled. If they don't allow us to sell it to other ancient nations, they will have to increase the price. After negotiating with his teacher, Southern Cloud King, his teacher naturally sent a message to the 3 great clans of the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, stating that he could sell the original copy of the Pinnacle of Voidification technique, the 9-rotation Undying technique, that Dongbua Shuiying displayed to the 3 great clans. Southern Cloud Nation Royal Palace Jianghu Palace. The rainbow gold 3-dust incense, that was as thick as an arm and worth more than 100 million cosmos crystals had already been lit. Its fragrance permeated throughout the entire palace hall. The tables within the palace hall were extremely exquisite, and the 3 female attendants by the side were all primal chaos magic servants. There were 2 tables by the side of the palace hall. The black-robed Southern Cloud King and the white-robed young man Dongbua Shuiying were both waiting silently before their respective tables. The 3 female attendants were waiting by the side of the 3 tables respectively. At this moment, there was no one else within 500,000 kilometers of the Jianghu Palace. All the guards and female attendants had been sent away. Today, even the other disciples of Southern Cloud King, including Monarch Skyene, were forbidden from approaching this place. Even though the 3 female attendants were primal chaos magic servants, they could still feel an unseen pressure because they knew who they were facing today. Hua. A figure condensed and appeared from nothingness. He was wearing a loose, plain-colored robe. He directly descended and sat opposite of Southern Cloud King and Shuiying behind that single table. He sat down cross-legged behind it. Greetings, Your Majesty Emperor Summer. Even though Southern Cloud King and Dongbua Shuiying were seated cross-legged, they still bowed respectfully. Emperor Summer. He was the most terrifying existence in the entire Realm Heart Great Land. He was vaguely ranked number 1 in terms of strength. Just this point alone was sufficient for him to show disdain for other unparalleled existences. He had cultivated 2 Daos to grand perfection. Like Ancestor Fan, Emperor Tsang, Drifter, and many other unparalleled existences, including Sacred Master and Old Monster Stone in the Primal Chaos Void, they had only cultivated 1 Dao to grand perfection. One had to know how difficult it was to reach grand perfection. The difficulty of cultivating 2 Daos to grand perfection had increased by 10 to 100 times. But an existence like Emperor Summer still appeared. That was why Ancestor Fan and Emperor Tsang were willing to assist him. Furthermore, the Summer clan surpassed the other 2 great clans in terms of the number of great paragons and the number of geniuses they nurtured. No other choice, Emperor Summer was too formidable. He was simply too good at teaching disciples. Emperor Summer had cultivated both the Tao of Void and Tao of Flame to grand perfection. Other than that, he cultivated other Daos as well. Naturally, he was formidable in teaching disciples. Facing such an existence, how could Southern Cloud King and Dongbua Shuiying dare to slight him in the slightest? Yingshan Snow Eagle, I've heard that you are willing to sell that 9-rotation Undying technique to my Summer Wind Ancient Nation? Emperor Summer chuckled as he looked at Dongbua Shuiying. Yes. Dongbua Shuiying said. Even without the secret treasure, this Emperor Summer in front of him was an existence more frightening than Sacred Master. Haha, there are 2 cultivation techniques at the Pinnacle of Voidification at the Primal Chaos Realm in the Realm Heart Great Land. They were created by me and that drifter from the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation respectively. Emperor Summer said, this is the 3rd cultivation technique at the Pinnacle of Voidification at the Primal Chaos Realm. I need to take a look at it before determining its value. All right. Dongbua Shuiying nodded. With a flip of his hand, an indistinct book appeared. Of course, he had left behind some restrictions on this book. In the Realm Heart Great Land, there were many more restrictions on imparting absolute arts as compared to the Primal Chaos Void. Of course, given Emperor Summer's strength, he could easily break through these restrictions and impart this absolute art created by Dongbua Shuiying to outsiders regardless of those restrictions. But firstly, given Emperor Summer's status, he disdained to do so. Secondly, Emperor Summer could disregard the restrictions on some scriptures, but that would affect his Tao heart. Reaching the level of Emperor Summer, what they pursued was to take that final step. They were absolutely unwilling to affect their Tao heart. Emperor Summer received this translucent book. He immediately sent his consciousness in, learning all sorts of profound mysteries of the 9-rotation Undying technique. Interesting. Emperor Summer was slightly startled. It is actually a dual cultivation of all 9 branches in the Tao of Void. It is actually so concise and ingenious. What Drifter and I created is slightly more complex. Chapter 1107. Emperor Summer and Drifter relied on their grand perfection attainments in the Tao of Void and the profound mysteries at the primal chaos realm to reach the pinnacle of voidification. As for the complexity of cultivating it, they did not care about it. It was not easy to create it. And strictly speaking, Dongbua Shuiying had a reference: the Destruction Devil General Mogu scale armor inscriptions. Those scale armor inscriptions were formed naturally when the Destruction Devils were nurtured in the origin world. Simply put, it was naturally formed under the supreme law. Even though Emperor Summer and Drifter were formidable, they were still lacking when compared to the natural formation of the supreme law. They were still lacking in terms of simplicity and ingenuity. It is indeed simple and ingenious. Southern Cloud King chuckled. I am incredibly shocked after seeing it. But it has a weakness too. Even though it is more ingenious and easier than what Drifter and I created. Emperor Summer shook his head, but the difficulty of cultivating it is still high. How hard is it to cultivate 9 branches? It is not bad for cultivators of the Tao of Void to cultivate 3 or 4 branches at the primal chaos realm, but to cultivate all 9 branches? That is too difficult. It is much harder than the 5 phases sealing technique. But it has a strong point too. Southern Cloud King added, this 9 rotation undying technique could allow cultivators of the Tao of Void to comprehend all 9 branches at the primal chaos realm. If I could obtain this cultivation technique in the past, I would have reached the pinnacle of all 9 branches at the first level Cosmos God realm. Furthermore, the fusion is simple and ingenious, and it would be helpful to fuse the Daos in the future. Emperor Summer chuckled. Reaching the pinnacle of all 9 branches? Fusing them together? How could it be that easy? Emperor Summer said, ultimately, it cannot escape from the flaw of cultivation difficulty. The only advantage is that it allows cultivators at the primal chaos realm to comprehend the 9 branches. My Summer Wind Ancient Nation and the 3 great clans can by this secret technique, but I hope that other than the citizens of the Southern Cloud Nation, you are forbidden from teaching it to other organizations. My 3 great clans can give you a total of 300,000 contribution points. These 300,000 contribution points can be exchanged for any treasures within the 3 great clans. With his identity, the moment he spoke, it was impossible to bargain. Forbidden from teaching it to other organizations? Southern Cloud King said, what if we want to? Then we can only reduce the price by half. 150,000 contribution points. He felt that this technique was quite valuable, far more valuable than the one he and Drifter had created. Southern Cloud King turned to Dongbua Shuiying. Snow Eagle, you decide. He was still very satisfied. If not, the Summer Wind Ancient Nation would have to fork out 300,000 contribution points. This was enough to exchange for a peak-grade secret treasure. It was too difficult to obtain a top-graded secret treasure in the Realm Heart Great Land. Even the 6 great ancient nations had the help of the old ancestors. But experts from other nations had to risk their lives and rely on luck to get their hands on a top-graded secret treasure. Now, a secret technique could be sold at such a price? What a great profit. But to sell it at such a price, first, it had to be valuable, and second, it had to be unique. Even though Southern Cloud King got the 3 realms technique, he was not the only one who had it. Hence, he was not qualified to sell it at a high price. Moreover, he only had 1 copy of the 3 realms technique. Unlike Dongbua Shuiying, who could impart it to others, he could casually create several original copies of it. Your Majesty Emperor Summer, I wish to see what secret importation treasure I can exchange for. Dongbua Shuiying said. All right. Emperor Summer nodded. He waved his hand. Hua! Many densely packed golden words appeared in midair. The 3 female attendants by the side did not even lift their heads to look. This was the benefit of magic servants. They were absolutely loyal and would listen to orders obediently. Dongbua Shuiying looked up. From the perspective of his inner heart, he naturally hoped to sell it to other ancient nations so that he could obtain more benefits. Because Dongbua Shuiying was clear that there were too few techniques which unparalleled existences would find valuable and which he could impart to others. Just like his hometown primal chaos void cultivation technique, only Sacred Master had reached grand perfection. Dongbua Shuiying did not know how strong Old Monster Stone was. Would Sacred Master impart the absolute art he created to him? Even if Sacred Master was willing to impart it to others, Shuiying could not do anything about it. The primal chaos void and Realm Heart Great Land were too far away. Shuiying could only connect them through the memories of his avatars. Shuiying had to learn a secret importation technique before he could impart it to others. He had to reach the peak before he could learn a secret importation technique, right? By then he would be a level 3 cosmos god. Furthermore, he had to cultivate in the same direction as Sacred Master. Hence it was hopeless. As for others, absolute arts were even lower in value. As for level 2 cosmos gods, unless it was the Tao of Soul, it was hard to sell it for a high price. It had to be stunning. It had to be rare. Shui Ying's 9 rotation undying technique was rare. Furthermore, it had the advantage of being concise and ingenious. If it were similar to what Emperor Summer and Drifter created, its value would likely be lower by a level, only 20 to 30% of the current price. But if he wanted to create a new one, he really didn't know when he would be able to. Amen? Dongbo Shuiying and Southern Cloud King both looked up at the densely packed golden words. Snow Eagle, you currently have 40,000 contribution points. Even if you want to impart it to other ancient nations, the Summer Wind Ancient Nation is willing to give you 150,000 contribution points. These 150,000 contribution points can be exchanged with any of the 3 great clans. Even if the Fan clan is doing poorly, it isn't hard for you to earn another 10,000 contribution points in the future. Once you accumulate 200,000, you will get a top-graded secret treasure. Southern Cloud King transmitted, we can also sell it to other ancient nations to exchange for something you want. There's no rush for a top-graded secret treasure. Dongbo Shuiying replied. What he valued the most was still his hometown. Paying a huge price for a top-graded secret treasure? The experts in Realm Heart Great Land were willing, but he was not. Because secret treasures could not be brought back. Isn't the Chaotic Origin Dao Scroll a secret importation technique that leads straight to the peak? And it requires 100,000 contribution points? Dongbo Shuiying asked with slight astonishment. Usually, it was a secret importation technique that led straight to the peak with 100,000 function points. Even though Dao could not be imparted easily, in reality, under normal circumstances, a top-graded secret importation technique would be cheaper than a top-graded secret treasure. Because level 2 cosmos gods could immediately fight against those of a higher level once they acquired a suitable top-graded secret treasure. And if it was merely a top-graded secret importation technique, it would not be of any help to the cultivator. Naturally, there were differences between top-graded secret importations. For instance, the unphased mystical technique, which contained all the techniques of Ancestor Fan, required 300,000 contribution points. If one were to disassemble that unphased mystical technique into a powerful top-graded cultivation technique, 100,000 contribution points would suffice. It states that there are only 2 levels in the Chaotic Origin Dao Scroll. One is small success and the other is large success. A level 2 cosmos god could hope to reach large success in it. Dongbo Shuiying said, and it requires 100,000 contribution points? Yes. Emperor Summer nodded. The Chaotic Origin Dao Scroll is something I created. It contains both combat techniques and body refinement techniques. It is a void cultivation technique that I used to break through the cage of the origin world and utilize the chaotic origin energy from the external world. It can be said to be an apex cultivation technique at the same level. At the same level, it is stronger than the 5 phases sealing technique. It is the most perfect cultivation technique for the Tao of Void that I created. It's a pity that I have yet to create the final level. I only have the first 2 levels. That is why it only costs 100,000 contribution points. Dongbo Shuiying mumbled, though he felt satisfied in his heart. What he wanted was a cultivation technique that was sufficiently heaven-defying. Furthermore, this was a Tao of Void cultivation technique that utilized the mysterious chaotic origin energy, after breaking through the cage of the origin world. Emperor Summer mentioned that this was the most perfect cultivation technique for the Tao of Void, yet he had yet to create the 3rd level. It was absolutely the most suitable cultivation technique for him to improve his strength. Even though the difficulty of cultivating it was high. His foundation in the Tao of Void was deep, and he cultivated all 9 branches simultaneously. Naturally, he was confident of grasping it. Alright, I'll choose the Chaotic Origin Dao Scroll and Heart Realm. Dongbo Shuiying said. Heart Realm was the strongest scripture in the mirage created by Ancestor Fan. It was merely a scripture that reached the level 2 cosmos god level, yet it required a total of 80,000 contribution points. A total of 180,000 contribution points. Emperor Summer nodded. Do you plan on imparting it to other ancient nations? I do plan to do so. Dongbo Shuiying nodded. I have 40,000 contribution points in the Fan clan. In addition to this 150,000 contribution points, I'm left with 10,000 contribution points after exchanging for the 2 secret importation techniques. Southern Cloud King could not help but transmit from the side when he saw that. Snow Eagle, you are exchanging for secret importation techniques? You don't want any treasures? Treasures were the fastest way to improve one's strength. Top-graded secret treasures. There's no rush. Dongbo Shuang transmitted back. After returning to his hometown, what he needed the most were the strongest secret importation techniques in the Tao of Void and Tao of Mirage. Clearly he had chosen them. These two were the strongest absolute arts at the same level, and were beyond the 5 phases sealing technique. Naturally the price would be higher. One had to know that 180,000 contribution points would be equivalent to 180 billion cosmos crystals. Furthermore, nobody would be willing to exchange for it. Because contribution points could be exchanged for cosmos crystals, but cosmos crystals could not be exchanged for contribution points. Such a luxurious opportunity to choose from the scriptures in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation would most likely come once in a very long time. These 2 great secret importation techniques, they were also what he relied on to fight against the Sacred Master when he returned to his hometown. You have to go to the Summer Wind capital to learn these 2 secret importation techniques. Emperor Summer said, it is slightly complicated to learn the chaotic origin Tao scroll. Chapter 1108. Everything was settled. You can go to the Fan Clan Magic Mountain to learn the Heart Realm. Head directly to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation's Royal Palace for the Chaotic Origin Tao Scroll. There will naturally be someone there to receive you. Emperor Summer took that original copy personally written by Dongbo Shuang before disappearing from the place. Within the Jing Cloud Palace Hall, only the 3 female attendants, Dongbo Shuang and Southern Cloud King were left. Southern Cloud King let out a sigh of relief. He still felt pressured when facing Emperor Summer. Snow Eagle, if you had a more powerful cultivation technique, you would be able to earn more. Emperor Summer sighed. Dongbo Shuang chuckled, I still have to discuss with my religion. Ordinary cultivation techniques were not worth much. Like the Chaotic Origin Tao Scroll, it was created by an unparalleled existence like Emperor Summer by fusing the chaotic origin energy from outside the origin world into the Tao of Void. It was hailed as the strongest at the same level. Just 2 levels of it cost 100,000 contribution points to learn it once. If he had the original copy, he could impart it to others endlessly. It would absolutely be more expensive than the 9 rotation undying technique. It's a pity, the stronger and rarer a cultivation technique was, the harder it was to create it. Should we contact the other 5 great ancient nations now? Emperor Summer looked at Dongbo Shuang. No rush. I'll first cultivate these 2 secret importation techniques before making my decision. Dongbo Shuang answered. He had to be cautious when selling the 9 rotation undying technique. He was afraid he might not be able to find another suitable cultivation technique for a long time. That day. Summer Wind Capital. Who? Entering through the city gates, a white-robed Dongbo Shuang floated above the Summer Wind Capital. Being a great expert in the mirage and illusory realm, his aura was illusory and ethereal. It was hard for others to discern his strength. But those with slightly better eyesight could deduce that this white-robed young man should be incredibly powerful. Amen? Dongbo Shuang, who originally planned to head to the Fan Clan Magic Mountain to learn the Heart Realm, suddenly frowned. He turned towards a certain direction. Karma. Dongbo Shuang muttered. A universe was relatively small. Its internal workings made it easier to spy on the karma of countless living beings. Furthermore, an origin world was much bigger and the supreme law was even more unreachable. There were many cosmos gods and the difficulty of karma was much higher. But after becoming a cosmos god, he would form his own cosmos law. At the region he was at, the supreme law would retreat, and he could detect all traces including karma. There were many difficulties in investigating karma. For example, the further the distance, the more difficult it would be to detect. For example, the stronger one was, the more difficult it would be to investigate. For instance, Dongbo Shuang's soul had fused with the chaotic origin energy, aura from outside the origin world. Hence, it was incredibly difficult to investigate the karma of Dongbo Shuang. It was much harder than ordinary cosmos gods. Even the invincible existences could not track down Dongbo Shuang. This was also the reason why Sacred Master could not locate the avatar of Mount Chimay. I feel that within the Summer Wind Capital, there is a little fellow who is tangled with my karma. He seems to be in big trouble? Dongbo Shuiying focused his senses before turning towards a direction. Hua. Taking a step, Dongbo Shuiying soundlessly disappeared. Within the Summer Wind capital, within the hidden Wind Valley prison, located by the boundary of the Fan Clan Magic Mountain. Hoo-hoo. The cold wind was biting into one's bones. It whistled within the canyon. There were many cavern prisons on the walls of the canyon. Many prisoners were locked within. Within one of the cavern prisons, Ba Tuachen was currently seated cross-legged within the cavern prison. His hair was disheveled and his entire body was dirty. He sat here silently. Dong. A guard walked to the entrance of the prison. He threw in a pile of strange metals. There were so many that it formed a small mountain. Refine and purify everything within a month. The guard angrily shouted from outside. Ba Tuachen looked up with his cold eyes. The prison door wasn't a material door. Instead, it was an unseen array restriction. Brat, who asked you to offend Prince C? Just accept your misfortune. The guard sneered before leaving. Ba Tuachen looked at the pile of strange metals in front of him. His heart was burning with fury. His eyes were flashing with hatred. In the past, the Ba Tua clan was exterminated. His wife actually deliberately infiltrated their clan, causing Ba Tuachen's heart to distort. But because he was saved by Dongbo Shuiying and sent to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, he saw hope. Only then did his mental state recover slightly. But in a short year he saw the dark side of the biggest city in Realm Heart Great Land, the Summer Wind capital. It isn't time yet. Wait till I get out. There will be a day when all of them will die. Ba Tuachen roared in his heart. He closed his eyelids. With a wave of his hand, those strange metals flew towards him. He then began refining these metals in an obedient manner. Who? Suddenly Ba Tuachen felt something and looked over. There was a white-robed young man standing outside the unseen array restriction. He stepped on the void and arrived outside the prison with just 2 to 3 steps. He chuckled, "Ha brat Ba Tua, how did you end up in such a miserable state?" Ba Tuachen looked at the white-robed young man in a daze. He muttered, "Senior Ying Shan Snow Eagle." Dongbo Shuiying waved his hand. He executed the destructive realm teleportation technique, opening up a passage directly into the interior of the prison. At the same time he ordered, "Why aren't you coming out?" Ba Tuachen looked at the distorted spatial passage in front of him. He did not enter. Instead he said, "Senior, I've offended Prince C from the Fuya clan. That Prince C is a disciple of a cosmos god from the Fan clan, Monarch Jade Serpent. There is no need for Senior to save me." He had already found out that Senior Yingshan Snow Eagle was a great 10th level expert from the Southern Cloud Nation. His talent was incomparably talented, and he was more terrifying than most 10th level experts. But no matter what, he was someone from outside the nation. He would be discriminated against in the Summer Wind Ancient Nation, much less when Prince C was a disciple of Monarch Jade Serpent from the Fan clan. Even though Ba Tuachen's heart had become distorted after a year of torture, he was genuinely grateful to Yingshan Snow Eagle, because this was the person who helped him in the darkness without asking for anything in return. "I asked you to come out, so just come out." Dongbo Shuiying lightly roared. The moment his voice came out, Ba Tuachen could not help but stand. He followed along the passage and walked out. Only when he came out did his spirit jolt awake. Ba Tuachen felt incredibly shocked. He turned back at the prison. He actually came out unknowingly? He was being controlled? "Master, this Yingshan Snow Eagle is extremely frightening. Cosmos gods would most likely be controlled by him. Currently I am still too weak and feel a huge threat from him. That is why I can only hide my aura completely in your soul." A voice sounded in the soul of Ba Tuachen. "Senior Yingshan Snow Eagle doesn't have any malicious intent towards me." Ba Tuachen communicated through his soul. "How dare you? How dare you barge into the hidden Wind Valley prison of my Fan clan?" A loud roar came from afar. A black-robed muscular male flew over from afar. Behind him were other protectors. That black-robed muscular male looked at the escaping Ba Tuachen with incomparable fury. He coldly chuckled, "Ba Tuachen, it is fortunate that you survived the soul refining. Who would have thought that you are still trying to escape? Do you think the prison of my Fan clan is a place you can escape from? Also, this is your helper. He seems to have some techniques to be able to sneak into my Fan clan's prison. Everyone go and kill them all at once." The black-robed muscular male took the lead and brandished his whip. Wah! The whip brought along thunder as it arced through the sky. It formed an enormous arc before fiercely lashing on the body of the black-robed muscular male, causing his skin and flesh to split apart. Fresh blood dripped down. The black-robed muscular male howled in grief. His face revealed a look of excitement. "Do you know how powerful I am now?" "Ah!" he shouted with his mouth before continuing brandishing his whip. Pa 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 pa. Whip after whip landed on his own body, causing him to howl in grief. Nevertheless, he still had an excited look on his face. The other protectors by the side were dumbfounded. They even transmitted their voices to this comrade of theirs, yet it was useless. Ba Tuochen watched this scene dumbfoundedly. This black-robed muscular male was specifically targeting him in the hidden Wind Valley prison because it was young Master C who instructed him to do so. But now this black-robed muscular male was whipping himself? He was after all a primal chaos expert. Dongbo Shuiying stood in midair outside the cave as he watched calmly. He did not wish to start a massacre. He still had to give the Fan clan some face. He was also too lazy to reveal his identity and grumble with these protectors. The reason why he taught this black-robed muscular male a lesson was because Dongbo Shuiying could see that this black-robed muscular male had a deep karmic connection with Ba Tuochen. Clearly there was enmity between them. "He is here." Dongbo Shuiying looked up. A black-robed male appeared in the distance, causing Dongbo Shuiying to reveal a look of shock. Skyrending Great Paragon. He had indeed informed Skyrending Great Paragon before coming to learn the Heart Realm. He had also informed Skyrending Great Venerable in advance that he was coming to Hidden Wind Valley Prison to save people. Saving a Unity Realm brat. Skyrending Great Paragon immediately agreed to it. This was an unremarkable matter. So. One figure after another quickly appeared. The true higher-ups of the Hidden Wind Valley Prison, including a Cosmos God and several other primal chaos existences, appeared nervously. A large number of protectors, including the black-robed muscular male who whipped himself, had regained his consciousness. They also saw the distant, skyrending Great Paragon. "Greetings, Great Paragon." All of them respectfully bowed in unison. The status of skyrending Great Paragon was too high. He was also the manager of the entire Fan clan, and his status was slightly more unique than the other 5 Great Paragons. He actually came to the Hidden Wind Valley Prison? This was a prison located at the outermost boundary of the Devil Mountain, and it had a very low status. The truly important prisons were used to imprison serious criminals, and the security was much stricter. Upper honored guest Feishua. Skyrending Great Paragon chuckled as he looked at the distant Dongbo Shuiying. Dongbo Shuiying also walked over. He had unknowingly controlled the void to bring along Ba Tuochen, who was behind him. "I am merely helping a brat who has some fate with me. Who would have thought that Great Paragon would come personally?" Dongbo Shuiying added. "Ha! Since I am already at the Fan Clan Devil Mountain, I will naturally come and meet you." Skyrending Great Paragon laughed. He turned to Ba Tuochen by the side. "This is the brat you saved?" Ba Tuochen became even more nervous. The other existence in his soul had completely held its breath. Skyrending Great Paragon. The number 2 existence in the Fan clan. He was a terrifying existence second only to Old Ancestor Fan. Just Skyrending Great Paragon alone stood at the apex of the entire Realm Heart Great Land. "Should we enter the Devil Mountain now?" Skyrending Great Paragon asked. "All right." Dongbo Shuiying nodded. He turned to Ba Tuochen. "Ba Tuochen, where are you planning to go?" Chapter 1109. "Senior, it's better for me to leave the Summer Wind Ancient Nation now that I have offended an enemy," Ba Tuochen said. Dongbo Shuiying nodded his head and waved his hand. Using the destructive world teleportation technique, Ba Tuochen opened up a spatial tunnel. He looked gratefully at Dongbo Shuiying and said in a low voice, "Senior's great kindness, I don't know when this junior will be able to repay you." With that said, he turned and left, stepping into the tunnel and disappearing. Upon seeing this, Dongbo Shuiying chuckled. "My heart is the heart of heaven." Towards the countless weak Dongbo Shuiying, he did not view them as ants. Instead, he felt pity for them. In his eyes, Ba Tuochen was a pitiful fellow. First, his entire clan was wiped out. Then he was sent to the Summer Wind Ancient Nation by him before offending an enemy. Being imprisoned in the Fan clan's prison, if Shuiying didn't rescue him, he might not be able to come out alive. "Brother Feishua, shall we go?" Skyrending Great Paragon asked. "I'll have to trouble Great Sovereign then." Dongbo Shuiying felt that the Great Sovereign was indeed giving him a lot of face. There's no need to stand on ceremony with me, the heaven-ripping great monarch said with a smile. Then he left with Dongbo Shuang. The other higher-ups and guards in the prison were secretly horrified when they saw this. Exalted foreign elder Fei Xue is valued so highly by the great senior? Many of the upper echelons were secretly shocked. Quick, inform young Master Hai. At this moment, the black-robed brawny man's heart was still trembling. He actually wanted to use his whip to whip the terrifying powerhouse that even sky-ripping great venerable treated with such respect. Young Master Si Puya Hai was currently listening to his teacher, Monarch Jade Serpent, with the other disciples. Oh. Surprise flashed across Sovereign Jade Serpent's eyes as he shouted, "Everyone else, leave. Puya Hai, stay." Immediately, all the disciples retreated. Mr. C sat alone below, looking up at his master, but then he also received a message. "You're all so dirty." Monarch Jade Snake frowned as she glanced at her disciple. "Teacher, I've never thought that he is related to that Yingshan Snow Eagle. Yingshan Snow Eagle is merely a cultivator from outside the nation. Why is there a need to care so much about him?" Prince C could not help but add. Monarch Jade Serpent coldly snorted, "Fool, upper honored guest Fei Xue is a reincarnated expert. He can use a technique that allows him to achieve the pinnacle of voidification at the primal chaos realm. His origin is probably shocking. Furthermore, with his current strength, I'm afraid I'm no match for him." He was clear that a cosmos god in the Tao of Mirage had reached an unfathomable level in the Tao of Void. This Snow Eagle's strength was unfathomable. At the very least, he could tell that the other party was stronger than him. Ah. Mr. C was shocked. "That Ba Tuo-Chen, I have ordered people to investigate. He is a lucky kid from the Thistleflower Kingdom's Ba Tuo clan. That time, Yingshan Snow Eagle passed by the Thistleflower Nation and saved him. They did not have a deep relationship with each other. This Yingshan Snow Eagle is too kind." Monarch Jade Serpent said, "If you want to deal against Ba Tuo-Chen, you must do it cleanly. Leave no trace." "I understand." Mr. C nodded. Being a disciple of the Fan clan, Shuang naturally had some techniques that could prevent others from finding him. "He allowed you to escape. You are actually so lucky to form a relationship with Yingshan Snow Eagle? I can't offend Yingshan Snow Eagle, but do you think I can't deal with a brat like you?" Mr. C knew that the enmity between him and Ba Tuo-Chen was already huge. Previously, Mr. C wanted to make use of trash. Now that Ba Tuo-Chen had escaped, Mr. C had to find a chance to eliminate him. Myriad Realms Ancient Nation, Limitless City. Limitless City was the place where one of the 5 ancestors of the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation, Limitless City Master, lived. It was also one of the 5 great cities in the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. Because of the temperament of Limitless City Master and the laws he set, it resulted in Limitless City being the most orderly city out of the 5 great cities in the Myriad Realms Ancient Nation. In the vast wilderness outside Limitless City, a dispirited young man walked out from a distorted spatial passage. He was none other than Ba Tuo-Chen, who was sent here by Dongbo Shuang. Ba Tuo-Chen looked at the vast city in front of him. He muttered, "Myriad Realms Ancient Nation, Limitless City? It is extremely orderly and far from the Summer Wind Ancient Nation. Senior Yingshan Snow Eagle is truly considerate of me." Ba Tuo-Chen felt complex in his heart. Even though the prison of the Fan clan was terrifying, according to his original plan, it was still possible for him to escape after spending a long time there. But since Yingshan Snow Eagle saved him, it would allow him to escape from the prison earlier. That would allow him to truly fly as high as the sky, allowing his strength to greatly improve. "Senior Yingshan Snow Eagle, I am currently weak. In the future, Ba Tuo-Chen will definitely repay you." Ba Tuo-Chen thought. "Master, a place that is too orderly isn't suitable for you to grow. We have to go to a chaotic place." A voice sounded in the soul of Ba Tuo-Chen. Master doesn't have to be anxious. Since Master could get through the soul refinement trial of Old Master, your talent is extremely high. You are the most suitable inheritor that Old Master has found over a long period of time. As long as Master diligently cultivates, it is entirely possible for you to fight against existences like Yingshan Snow Eagle in the future. You might even surpass him and stand at the apex of the entire realm Heart Great Land. Even though the order here is good, it isn't a place where I should stay. Let's go. Send me out of this place." Ba Tuo-Chen glanced at Limitless City. "Yes, Master." At that moment, an unseen ripple enveloped Ba Tuo-Chen. Following that, he disappeared from the place. Dongbo Shuang did not know that his act of saving this little fellow Ba Tuachen would bring about a storm in the future. At this moment he was being led by Skyrending Great Paragon to see the strongest scripture in the mirage of the Fan clan, Heart Realm. Caressing the thick black scripture, a large amount of information surged into his mind. Amazing. Amazing. Dongbo Shuang was a cosmos god who cultivated the Tao of Mirage. Naturally, his vision was extremely high. He immediately discovered how terrifying this Heart Realm scripture was. Ultimately, it was a mirage cultivation technique deduced by an unparalleled existence, ancestor Fan, who cultivated the Tao of Mirage. It was the strongest mirage scripture in the Summer Wind ancient nation. Skyrending Great Paragon, I've already learned this cultivation technique. I'll be heading to the royal palace first. Dongbo Shuang said. Good. Haha, if there are any suitable secret importation techniques, you can continue selling them to my Fan clan. Skyrending Great Paragon chuckled. The reason why he treated Ying Shan Snow Eagle so courteously was because his strength was secondary. More importantly, this Snow Eagle could impart the 9-rotation undying technique to others. This was a horrifying cultivation technique that Skyrending Great Paragon believed could only be created after reaching the 3rd level Cosmos God. Since Ying Shan Snow Eagle could impart it to others, it meant that he had a high status in his religion in his previous life. Definitely. Dongbo Shuang acknowledged. He then left the Fan clan Magic Mountain and arrived at the royal palace of the Summer Wind capital. Deep within the royal palace, the importation of the chaotic origin Tao scroll is slightly complicated. Upper honored guest Fei Shue should enter first. A yellow-robed old man brought Dongbo Shuang to a hidden palace hall deep underground. At the center of the palace hall, there was a unique stone pillar floating. At this moment, a door opened on the stone pillar. Once you enter the stone pillar, remember to maintain the pinnacle of voidification. Otherwise you'll feel agony. All right. Dongbo Shuang nodded. He took a step into the stone pillar. This was a trade between him and Emperor Summer. If Emperor Summer wanted to kill him, he could simply do so with a wave of his hand. He would not use such a laughable method to plot against him. After entering the stone pillar, the space within was merely 3 meters wide and 9 meters tall. The stone door immediately closed. Following that, the entire stone pillar began emitting golden light. This stone pillar seemed to have turned into a sieve. Many veined patterns could be seen within, and golden light was moving about. Hung long, the surrounding essence of the void was being torn apart, forming an enormous hole. This pitch-black hole was filled with surging chaotic origin energy. This hole was much bigger than what he could open with his arch destruction. Dongbo Shuang felt it. When that incredibly dense chaotic origin energy surged over because it was too dense and huge, it even invaded his fleshy body, causing him to feel a dull pain. And this was under the premise of him executing the pinnacle of voidification. If he did not execute it, it would be as what that array spirit said, agony. The chaotic origin energy poured into his body and similarly into the stone pillar. Only after the chaotic origin energy poured into the stone pillar that was emitting golden light did it turn into many unique black characters. They continuously flowed into the body of Dongbo Shuang and into his soul, allowing Dongbo Shuang to learn this cultivation technique. This cultivation technique was naturally restricted by the supreme law. Usually, it was impossible to learn it. Only by relying on large amounts of chaotic origin energy could it be imparted. Tearing out such a huge hole in the origin world is something even my teacher can't do, right? Yet this array could do it? Emperor Summer must have spent a lot of effort on it. Dongbo Shuang thought. Emperor Summer had spent a lot of effort in creating this cultivation technique, yet he had only created 2 levels. Like the Heart Realm. Any mirage and illusory realm scripture related to the soul were usually expensive. And the Heart Realm was one of the best amongst them. It was normal for it to cost 80,000 contribution points. But a Tao of Void scripture that was equivalent to a level 2 Cosmos God at the highest level required 100,000 contribution points. This was equivalent to the price of a secret importation technique that reached the peak. Even imparting it was restricted by the supreme law. One could see how unique it was. Everything regained its peace. That hole in the origin world had long recovered. Wong. The stone door opened. Dongbo Shuang walked out from within. He revealed a look of excitement on his face. Amazing. The chaotic origin Tao scroll was truly worth it. Have you learned everything? The yellow-robed old man chuckled. I've learned everything. Dongbo Shuang answered. Then the transaction between Upper Honored Guest Fei Xue and my summer clan is completed. I'll send Upper Honored Guest Fei Xue out. The yellow-robed old man chuckled. Southern Cloud Nation, a great city, Fei Xue City? Within the Void God Pagoda. The golden-robed Dongbu Shuang stealthily came here. Nobody knew that he had entered the Void God Pagoda. It is time to return. The golden-robed Dongbu Shuang sat cross-legged. He thought. He had gotten the scripture he needed. This was one of the things he relied on in the primal chaos void. He had also become a cosmos god. Everything was ready. I wonder how Jing Qiu Yuer and Qing Yao are doing. Is my hometown primal chaos void still fine? Dongbu Shuang felt incredibly nervous. Time to return home. With a thought. At that moment, the remaining half of the Realm Heart Order energy that had been entrenched in his soul was activated. That scarlet energy wrapped around the purest strand of true spirit at the core of Dongbu Shuiying's soul. Hong. The scarlet energy abruptly surged. His soul immediately dissipated like sand. The scarlet energy brought along that strand of true spirit and disappeared. The fleshy body of the golden-robed Dongbu Shuiying remained there. It was still intact. South, another green-robed avatar of Dongbu Shuiying flew out from the Eden treasure. After all, the current Dongbu Shuiying had a total of 9 avatars. The green-robed Dongbu Shuiying waved his hand, causing this golden-robed fleshy body to dissipate into the most fundamental energy. The green-robed Dongbu Shuiying looked towards a direction. He could sense the direction of that strand of true spirit. I hope my plan will succeed. He left behind an avatar to fight in the Realm Heart Great Land. He also had an avatar that returned to his hometown. Hong. A strand of true spirit was enveloped by the Realm Heart Order energy. It soon left the Realm Heart Great Land and proceeded to the higher dimensional mysterious space. This time the true spirit of Dongbu Shuiying was a cosmos god. Hence, he was much more sensitive to the external world. Nonetheless, he felt a great terror. That higher dimensional mysterious space was not a place he could step into at his current level. I can still sense it. Dongbu Shuiying could sense the connection between the memories of his avatar in the Realm Heart Great Land. Time might have lost its meaning here. Since he could not determine the flow of time, he only knew that it felt like an eternity. As he proceeded towards the other origin world, the primal chaos void, Dongbu Shuiying could feel the connection between him and his avatar in the Realm Heart Great Land becoming weaker. This is ultimately just a strand of true spirit at the core of my soul. It is just 1/1000th of my soul. Dongbu Shuiying thought, it is too weak. Hence, it becomes harder to sense it from a distance away. I believe I should be able to sense it once my soul becomes stronger after returning to my hometown. Gradually, he could no longer connect his memories. He could only vaguely sense the existence of his avatar in the Realm Heart Great Land. The energy of the Realm Heart Order was continuously being consumed. It was becoming lesser and lesser. It's here. Dongbu Shuiying suddenly felt his spirit jolt. Even though he was just a strand of true spirit, he was ultimately a cosmos god true spirit. His soul was stronger than most void god souls. He could clearly feel himself rapidly approaching an incomparably vast and terrifying fluctuation. Furthermore, that fluctuation was one he was extremely familiar with, the fluctuation of his hometown origin world, the primal chaos void. So, closely following that, under the protection of the remnant energy from the Realm Heart Order, Dongbu Shuiying's strand of true spirit directly charged into the origin world, the primal chaos void. I'm back. Dongbu Shuiying am finally back. Jing Qiu, I'm back. Dongbu Shuiying was currently filled with excitement. Chapter 11:10. Hong. Under the protection of the Realm Heart Order's energy, a strand of Dongbu Shuiying's true spirit was directly sent into an embryo. Having the previous reincarnation experience, he was born as a void god. This time, the life force contained in this embryo was clearly much weaker. Even though it is slightly weaker, it should be a transcendent the moment it is born. This time, its parents should be at the world deity or true god level. Dongbu Shuiying rapidly deduced. Closely following that. Following the fusion of a strand of true spirit with the embryo, Dongbu Shuiying only felt his true spirit ringing before he lost his consciousness. This was also following the operation of the Supreme Law. It was an ordinary reincarnation. This was something Ancestor Fan, Southern Cloud King, and others who could execute the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique to enter other origin worlds dreamed of. because as an outsider he would suffer from the suppression and rejection of the supreme law of the entire origin world. Even his strength would be greatly suppressed. And reincarnation required the permission of the supreme law. Clearly, Myriad Realm Tavern Master, that teacher of Mount Chimay, Southern Cloud King Ancestor Fan, and others could not rely on themselves to reincarnate in an origin world. Dongbua Shuiying relied on the energy from the Realm Heart Order. One time. The energy from the Realm Heart Order was also exhausted. Such an opportunity would not appear a second time. The primal chaos void was grand. It was bigger than the Realm Heart Great Land, and it was constantly expanding. Other than the 5 sacred worlds and the countless universes, there were also many continents in the vast void. Some of these continents were formed by the power of the heavens and the earth condensed by powerful beings. Some were the remnants of the original ancient sacred world when it shattered. When the original ancient sacred world shattered, there was a smaller fragment that was sucked into the depths of a void vortex in the chaotic void. It had very little contact with the outside world. This smaller fragment world was called the Bright Star World, by the cultivators living within. South, on a flying ship, there was currently a male and female seated cross-legged. The flying ship was just a few meters long. It traveled through the clouds with a speed as fast as lightning. Chin, there's still 1 day left before we reach the Black Sky sect. We can make it back in time. The man spoke. He wore a black robe and carried a long sword on his back. His bearing was extraordinary, but there was a hint of anxiety in his eyes. Yes. The woman in white beside him had a look of anticipation in her eyes. She lowered her head and gently stroked her bulging belly. The man also looked at his wife's abdomen. He felt even more anxious and regretful. No matter what, I must protect my wife and child. This little guy is getting bigger and bigger in my stomach. The woman in white stroked her belly and chuckled. It's a boy. When he grows up, he'll definitely be as powerful as Brother Yu. The man also smiled. That was right. He couldn't forget the first time he used his true God power to check on the child in his wife's belly. It was just a simple check, but his heart trembled. This was his first child. And the only child of his beloved wife. 1 day. There's only 1 day left. The man looked ahead. The flying boat was advancing at high speed. Suddenly a black cloud rolled over. His laughter caused the heaven and earth to tremble. Xiaoyu Chui Qin, it wasn't easy to find the two of you. The black-robed man and white-robed woman stood up abruptly. Looking at the black cloud rolling over from the flying boat, their expressions changed. Old Devil Golden Horn is here. The husband and wife on the flying boat became anxious. Brother Yu, what should we do? The white-robed woman Chui Qin asked anxiously. At this time, for our child? For our child, we can't care anymore. The black-robed man clenched his teeth. I hope this devil can stop. Senior Golden Horn. The black-robed man looked at the black cloud rolling over and said, we are willing to offer this void god weapon. But Senior has to swear an oath not to. With their temperament, even if they had to risk their lives, they wouldn't be willing to hand over the void god weapon to a devil. But for their child, they were willing to hand over the treasure. Feeling the heartbeat of their unborn child, the husband and wife had long vowed to let their child be born and grow up safely at all costs. If you had handed it over earlier, I could have let you live. But now, it's too late. The rolling black cloud closed in from afar. In order to chase after you, this old ancestor used the instant teleportation talisman and painstakingly searched your souls for clues. Now you still want to live? Come into this old ancestor's stomach. The speed of the black cloud was extremely fast, faster than the flying boat by more than half. It rapidly closed in. The husband and wife on the flying boat felt their hearts turn cold. Chin, Xiaoyu looked at his wife beside him and said softly, I will hold that old devil back. You escape. Brother Yu? The white-robed woman Chui Qin's expression changed greatly. My master and I are like father and son. Although I made a mistake, my master won't be too harsh on you. You must take good care of my child. Xiaoyu said. Amen. Chui Qin had cultivated for a long time. Although her heart ached, she knew that there was no other way out. Xiaoyu extended his hand and caressed his wife's bulging stomach. Feeling the warmth, he said softly, I really wish to see you and hug you. What a pity we aren't fated. So. Following which, Xiaoyu transformed into a dazzling sword light and tore through the sky, charging towards the true body of Old Devil Golden Horn amidst the rumbling black cloud. An explosive roar resounded throughout the world. Old Devil, die. On the flying boat, the white-robed woman's face was already filled with tears. Seeing her husband disregarding everything to resist, she also did her best to control the flying boat. Quick, quick, go! As long as they were a certain distance away, the flying boat would only need to slightly change its course, and it would be hard to find them again. A day would be sufficient for them to rush back to the sect. As long as her husband could delay Old Devil Golden Horn for a certain period of time, the chances of her escaping to the sect would be very high. Brother Yu. The white-robed woman's heart was filled with agony. Within the womb of the white-robed woman, a terrifying and tyrannical life form was being nurtured. Wu. Dongbo Shui Ying's consciousness was awakening. His strand of true spirit was too powerful. Even after reincarnating and using his true spirit as the foundation to form a soul, this embryo of a transcendent life form had only awakened when it reached the late stages. It was not far from the day of birth. It's all right. The moment he woke up, he felt a chill run down his spine. Dongbo Shui calmed down. He could sense his other avatars located in another origin world, the realm Heart Great Land. My soul is still too weak. I can't connect my memories, but I can at least sense the existence of my avatar. This is good news. Dongbo Shui was secretly delighted. What would happen if he reincarnated? He didn't dare to confirm it beforehand. What he feared the most was a situation where his soul could no longer sense the soul of his avatar in Realm Heart Great Land after reincarnating. This was something that Dongbo Shui guessed. After all, it was a soul from two different origin worlds. If such a situation happened, there was only one solution: to let his avatar in the Realm Heart Great Land cultivate as soon as possible, reaching the level 2 Cosmos God Realm in the Tao of Void. Only then would he be able to execute the Great Destruction Realm teleportation technique. At that time, he would send a clone over using the Great World Breaching teleportation technique. Although they would be suppressed if they were sent over. But at least the avatar sent over could act as a bridge, allowing the body in the Primal Chaos Void and the body in the Realm Heart Great Land to exchange memories frequently. Fortunately, it seems that the soul in the Realm Heart Great Land is formed using a strand of my true spirit as the foundation. This reincarnation in the Primal Chaos Void is still using my true spirit as the foundation. Dongbo Shui let out a sigh of relief. When a strand of his true spirit was sent out of the Realm Heart Great Land, it could connect with the memories of his avatar. After reincarnating, it was normal for the soul formed using this strand of true spirit to form a connection with the origin world. How is the outside world? Dongbo Shui Ying's soul was currently slightly weak. But he was a terrifying existence who had reached the Cosmos God Realm in both the Tao of Mirage and Tao of Void. Reaching the Cosmos God Realm, the laws and profound mysteries he comprehended would form a cosmos system. No matter which origin world he was in, he would immediately reach the Cosmos God Realm. Who? Relying on the void, his consciousness swept out in all directions. Hong. At this moment, the consciousness of an existence high up enveloped the entire Bright Star world. There were many experts in the Bright Star world, yet none could find out about it. After all, the Cosmos God Realm was ranked at the apex across the entire Primal Chaos Void. My parents in this life have met with trouble? Dongbo Shui immediately discovered it. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.